So you've just got a sound effect of Dan's bear.
Yeah. Now I can use that over and over again. All right. Yeah. Okay, now we're.
Make that your
So
ringtone.
you've just got a sound effect of Dan's bear.
Yeah. Now. Oh shit! Now I hear everything doubled. Hold on, I need to mute this. Okay, there you go.
Why is it called Tate? Taters gonna Tate?
Because Tate is gonna Tate.
Titty's gonna lactate.
It's a potato pun.
Yeah, it's a potato. It's a potato pun for haters.
Who
Cause
the fuck?
So the other day I got these. Somebody tagged me in a tweet. I have no idea who this person is. I don't know if they follow me, if they're sub to me. I mean, I know they don't follow me. I don't know if they're sub to me, but they don't follow me. They don't follow anybody I know. So I have no idea who this guy is. I don't know why he fucking decided to tag me in this, but I'm going to share it on here so people can see it. All right. I got to put it so it can be seen. Okay. So he tags me on this and, well, it's a retweet, but he tags me. His name's Conrad Marburg. I have no idea who this guy is. But this is what it says. Disney consumes another company, further establishing their growing monopoly on media, which is funny already. MCU fans, yay, X-Men in the MCU. Me, but this is bad. I don't see why it's bad. MCU fans, hooray, MCU F4 movies. And me, Disney is going to try to own all of humanity. Talk about. Wasn't I saying earlier how fucking dramatic these people are? It's fucking insane. Like, they buy a couple of companies, like, oh no, they're gonna have a monopoly, they're gonna own everything, and it's like, dude, chill the fuck out. Like, it's not that serious. There's still plenty of other movie companies that own franchises and shit.
What's MCU?
The Marvel Comics universe is the Marvel movies, basically. The ones released by Marvel, you know, because that. So basically, Disney is buying out 21st Century Fox, and Fox had the licenses for X-Men and Fantastic Four, which was created by Marvel, but before Marvel had a movie studio, they licensed those out for some money, right? But now Marvel's been trying to get those all back. You know, they teamed up with Sony so they can use Spider-Man, because that was another one they licensed out. But now they're merging with Fox, so that means they're basically getting their own properties back. But people are bitching about it and calling it like a monopoly. Like, how is it a monopoly? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
So they basically previously owned it and they're just buying it back.
Yeah. They still own it. They just licensed out the rights to use it in film under the pretext that nobody else can use it in film. Only Fox can make movies of X-Men and Fantastic Four, but Marvel still owns the rights to those things because they created it in every other aspect, right? But of course, you know how those contracts go. It's like, oh, if you don't make a movie in this amount of time, then it reverts back to us and this and that, you know?
Yeah.
So this guy tags me in that, and I say, oh, it took long enough because it's news about that the deal's finally going through. It's like $7.1 billion or something. But it's finally going through. They've been talking about this for like 2 years. So I'm like, oh, finally. So I said, oh, it took long enough. And this guy responds to me, you should be concerned that Disney is making a monopoly, right? So I'm like, how?
So many things wrong with that.
Yeah, so I'm like, how? There's plenty of movie companies. Besides, they can't have a monopoly. It's illegal, right? And he says loopholes in the system, plus the Disney execs will stifle creativity. I don't agree with that because they basically let Marvel do what they want. Marvel started their movie studio before Disney bought them out. And when Disney bought them out, they didn't change the studio. They said they kept Kevin Feige in charge. They were like, hey, you're doing a great job, because the movies without Disney were doing great anyway. So they were like, you're doing a great job. Just here's money. Do what you do, you know? So they're not stifling creativity. They're just giving them money.
Alf, Disney ruined Star Wars.
Yeah, but Star Wars isn't Marvel, right? So
yeah,
they were totally
Alf, somebody in Chris Holowicki's live stream came at me with that fucking Disney's got a monopoly thing.
Oh God, where do these guys get that? Do they even know what monopoly means?
That's what I said. I was like, yeah, but maybe they do have monopoly if you completely redefine what the word monopoly means.
They're nowhere near close. They're still Universal, Paramount. There's all these other studios.
How many movie studios are there?
Sony, Warner Brothers. Nobody bitches about Warner Brothers being the only company that makes DC superhero movies. Nobody bitches about that.
DC.
Yeah, because Warner Brothers has owned DC since the early 80s. Nobody bitches about that. But since Disney has recently bought Marvel, now they want to bitch about, oh, they're making all the Marvel movies. Who gives a shit? DC's been doing that this whole time.
Yeah, but I don't understand. I don't get the complaint because they're making all the Marvel doing a bloody good job.
Yeah,
of
they're
it.
doing a great fucking job. So these
just
people
because some of these people don't individually, for whatever reason, like the films. The proof of the pudding's in the eating. Lots of people like the films.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, more people like them than don't like them.
Yeah, say they marketed these films to these minorities who don't like the minority of people who don't like these movies. Then those movies aren't going to make money, and they won't be able to make more movies. So either way, it's fucked then. So you either got to accept the way it is, or you get nothing. Like, too bad.
Black Panther was garbage.
Well, it was.
I
was just going to say, but you've got to give Marvel credit. They successfully cashed in on white guilt.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but I don't think it was garbage. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It's one of the lower of the Marvel movies for me, but it's not. But even the lowest of the Marvel movies to me is still a good movie. So
I didn't like it, but I've been watching these like breakdowns of like everything wrong with these analysis, and they like really broke down so many problems with that. But I feel like you could do that for any movie, like get Shawshank Redemption underneath the microscope, and you can be like,
the thing is,
how did he dig through that wall with that tiny little hammer?
Black Panther was bad. I just think it was not as good as the other Marvel.
No,
so when you compare it to them, it doesn't look as good.
No. But it's an origin story, and most of the origin stories aren't as good as the later ones, you know? Because origin stories are basically going to follow the same kind of formula, right?
I didn't even feel like they were trying to fucking bash you over the head too much with social justice warrior stuff. Did a bit, I admit, but not a huge amount.
But they're not extremely. They're also not extremely like in your face about it, which I think is what they do good in those movies. Is there is some SJW stuff in there, but they don't bash you over the head with it, like you were saying.
Well, they're trying to pander to as many people as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine.
But it's funny because that's always the complaint before the movies come out, right? It's always like, now with the Captain Marvel movie, it's all like, oh, they're trying to bash us over the head with feminism. It's like, watch, the movie's going to come out and it's not going to be that serious, you know? It's going to be
Spider-Man Homecoming came to a screeching halt so they could tell us how, I can't remember what it was now. It was like colonizer type stuff too.
Really? I don't remember.
I didn't.
Yeah, they were at the Capitol, and somebody was all like, "Oh, you mean when the white man stole this land?" It was like, "Fuck."
Really, I don't remember that scene. I watched this so long ago. I might have to watch it again.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of that movie either. I thought it was pretty good, but I don't think it was one of the better Marvel movies either.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it, but more for the point that it brought Spider-Man into the fold for Avengers.
And
to be honest,
yeah, exactly. And Spider-Man, the character was done really well in the movie. Probably the best that he's been done. But the story itself was kind of lacking. I thought it could have been a lot better.
Again, though, it was origin story territory.
Yeah, that's true.
It wasn't really meant to be much of.
Yeah, it wasn't an origin story, but it was still the first film with that.
That kind of thing, though.
The second one will probably be better. All of them tend to do that.
Stone Mexican guy up in the chat.
What's up, man? Oh, I'm not even looking at the chat. Sorry, guys. Let's see what's going on.
Stone Mexican guy.
Let me separate.
To be honest, like I watched Black Panther. I can't remember any like SJW shit. I'm sure there was some stuff in there, but to be honest, it was everything that surrounded it more than the film that pissed me off. Like when you would hear like, "Oh, Black Panther, the first diverse film in like blah blah blah," and it's like, what? Because almost everyone in it is black.
Oh yeah, that was funny. I did a live stream about that too, reading that article, because they put out an article saying that it was the most diverse superhero film ever, and but in the headline it said most diverse superhero film ever with 90% African or African American cast. And I was like, that's not diverse. That's the exact opposite of diverse.
Yeah, so we're ruining words like literally and monopoly and diversity. Fuck words. Who cares? Dictionary, throw that away.
Yeah, it makes no fucking sense.
I quite enjoy words having meanings. It sort of worries me a bit when they start fucking playing fast and loose with definition.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
A monopoly, of course. We're redefining that.
So let's go back. Let me go back to reading what this guy said. So I told them it was illegal. Yeah, loopholes in the system. And plus Disney execs will stifle creativity, which is bullshit, of course. And I said, I don't get it. What loopholes could let them be a monopoly? They aren't even close to being a monopoly. Is this something to actually be concerned about then? They don't seem to stifle Marvel films. They've all been great. Better than what Warner Brothers do with DC films. And then he says, they're great if you're a low IQ fan. What? It's like holding a shiny object in front of a stupid cat. Ooh, look, Wolverine's with the Avengers. That hasn't even happened. Ooh, look, Fantastic Four is teaming up with Spider-Man. That hasn't happened either. No substance, just power crossovers. It works in the comics. In cinema, not so. So I said, what?
By the way, I'm super torqued for both those things, if they happen.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But I said, what? It's worked so far. When Spider-Man made his cameo and all the other superheroes made their cameos in that Captain America Civil War, That was fucking awesome. That movie was great, right? Avengers, all the Avengers movies are crossover movies. They're all fucking awesome. Well, except the second one. I'm not a big fan of the second one, but the first one and the third one were fucking great.
Yeah, but I mean, I bet you, even though you're not a big fan of it, you don't think it's an awful film.
No, I don't think it's awful. I still think it's good. It's one of the lower ones.
I think Captain America: Civil War was probably the best of those crossover.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite. And then Infinity War was a masterpiece. You know, that movie's fucking amazing. And that's the ultimate crossover, right? Because it doesn't just cross over the superheroes that make up the Avengers, but Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, like all these other.
I'm really looking forward to the conclusion of that.
Yeah, really me too.
Forward to it.
So
wasn't that basically just like a superhero gangbang? Like everyone was in on it. Like
it takes the whole universe
all the Avengers
together.
Films are,
yeah. Well, there's the characters that make up the Avengers. For Infinity War, they brought in all the other characters, all the characters that exist within that universe.
And then they killed off half of them.
Yeah, which was awesome. But yeah, so I said, it's worked so far. Also, Marvel Studios could also make the films separately if they wanted to and not include them in the MCU. But if they did, so what? I don't get it. The X-Men films sucked. I'm glad they won't be making more. Marvel makes good movies, and X-Men is Marvel, so... And they said it works because they're too cowardly to experiment, which is bullshit, which is why these films won't last 10 to 20 years from now. I doubt it. I doubt he's right on that. They're playing it safe for a dumb audience, and the first two X-Men films were great. I'd suggest you take that back. Nope.
What?
I said playing it safe. Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, all titles that weren't that popular and are obscure to the general populace. They were huge risks. And before they were released, we're claiming they were going to be Marvel's first flops. First two X-Men were so-so, not great.
They were all right.
Great. Yeah, they were all right.
Okay.
What? Talk about great. Plus, what kind of argument is that? The first two were great. The rest sucked. The next, 8 sucked. Like, what are you talking about?
The 2 out of 12.
Yeah, the first two were great. That came out 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Thanks, man. Good argument. He said Doctor Strange was okay. No, that was a good movie. Why did they get a white Irish woman to play a bald monk chick than a Tibetan? Who gives a shit? Plus, Benedict Cumberbatch equals overrated. Ant-Man sucked. I don't care if he's overrated. What does that have to do with anything? Ant-Man sucked. Ant-Man was fucking fun. That was an extremely fun movie.
Yeah, it was a good film.
Yeah. Also, Martin Sheen equals overrated. Get the fuck out of here. Martin Sheen's a great actor. And no, he's been a great actor for 60 years. Like, you're gonna say he's overrated.
When this guy says overrated, does he mean by him?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
And I don't understand.
Once again, we don't care what words mean.
Yeah.
Overrated, just throw it out there. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
And Benedict Cumberbatch is sort of... He's a good actor, and it's absolutely easy to demonstrate that he's a good actor, whether or not you like him.
Yeah, and I don't get the point of saying he's overrated. Well, who cares if he's overrated? You don't go by. It's not like you watch a movie and be like, this guy would be all right in this role, but he's overrated, so he sucks. Like, that doesn't make any sense. He's either good in that role or not. It doesn't matter how he's rated. It doesn't make any difference. That's just not being subjective, basically. And I mean objective. And no, besides Rogue not being sultry like in the comics, the first two X-Men films are great. Yeah, well, and I said, well, agree to disagree. I loved Ant-Man. I love Doctor Strange. I don't love any of the X-Men Fox films except maybe Deadpool and Logan. Regardless, if you like those movies or not, they were risks. Which completely destroyed his argument, and he never goes back to that again to say that, they don't take risks. And it's like, I just proved they did. I also don't care who plays the Supreme One. We have different tastes, apparently. Yeah, I don't care that a woman's playing that character. It doesn't make any difference. And he said, Logan was great. Deadpool stank. All it is toilet jokes and sex humor. This is the best part. He says it was repulsive and disgusting. What?
Yeah, okay, we gotta address the fact that his avatar is basically Mike Pence, and now he's exposed.
I didn't even realize. Yeah. Repulsive and disgusting. Yeah, as I said, repulsive and disgusting.
Degenerate.
I was like, it takes a lot to repulse and disgust me, I guess. Nothing in that film disgusted me. Like I said, we have different tastes. In the end, I've waited for Fox to give up these licenses for 15 years. I'm happy it's finally happened. That's my opinion. But yeah, disgusting. This guy's a prude. He's like a fucking soccer mom or something. What's going on?
The only concern I think I've said this to you before, Alf, the only concern I personally have about Disney taking control of Deadpool specifically is that Deadpool might be a bit too fucking X-rated for Disney.
Yeah. But the only thing I see of that is since they have been letting Marvel do what they want with their franchises for films, and they see that Deadpool is doing well being R-rated, they might let that go and might be like, all right, you know, just do what you've been doing.
I really hope so. Yeah, I really hope so.
Because, I mean, that's what they've been doing with Marvel so far with the films. They've just been letting Marvel do what they do. Because they were kicking ass before Disney bought them. So they're basically just throwing money at them. And being like, oh, you need this budget? Here you go. Here's the money. Like, all Disney did by buying them was raise the budget of the Marvel films, basically.
I don't know, just something about the sort of way they burned fucking James Gunn just gives me a bit of pause for concern.
Yeah, that sucked. But that was probably Marvel itself, not Disney. I bet.
I agree, probably, but
Marvel's been very.
Well, we'll see. Well, we'll just have to see. It's okay.
But Kevin Feige's good, man. He's been the producer of the Marvel films from the beginning. He's been the head guy, and he's the one who connected it as a universe. And I think he just does so well. Disney's just like, hey, you've been in charge. You did well already. Here you go. You know. I
think with regards to Deadpool, we've had 2 really good fucking films, and if it stops at 2 good films, I'm totally all right with that, to be honest.
And then there was this other thing. He started tagging me. I can't see them because this guy blocked me. It's really weird. He started tagging, but he wasn't retweeting. Oh, as you see, he was.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was copy and pasting the address to the tweet and posting it at me and tagging me for 2 of them from this guy named Angry Groby. But that dude blocked me almost immediately. I have no idea who that guy is. I guess he didn't like my response to one of them or something. But I mean, like, that's weird. I didn't say anything to him specifically. So let me see if I can bring it up because I screen capped them so you could see what he was saying. Where can I open these? Let me do this. But yeah, that was weird. I was like, why did this guy block me? But I was like, whatever, I don't care. But this guy's flipping out about it too. Like, oh my God, they're gonna have a monopoly.
You know, it's funny because there's like objective features to art, but the vast majority of art is so subjective that like I kind of recoil from most of these kinds of conversations. Like,
yeah.
Like, what are we even talking about? Like, so somebody goes, Deadpool was childish and stupid and gross. It's like, okay. So thank you, weird. I guess.
It's like, is it really though? Like,
yeah. Have you guys ever seen Screen Junkies? They do the show movie fights where they kind of try to have like a formal debate about movies. But at least that's like self-aware just for show. But like really getting into the like rolling up your sleeves and being like, oh, okay, let's talk about the X-Men franchise. It's like, I mean, just go enjoy the movies, right?
Yeah.
But this guy's like trying to crowbar some objective feature of it, like monopolies and like getting all into the studio stuff. Like, I don't know. I love movies, but man, it's really rough when you start looking at actors and studios and all that and budgets and profit margins. Like, what?
I can't get this to show for you guys to see it.
Yeah, but there's one thing we can all agree on is Nickelback are fucking shite.
Nope, I do not agree. Go fuck yourself.
Right. So what you can say, though, is that they're very contrived, sort of like pandering to a very certain demographic. Like, that's an objective statement.
I don't mind
but
that.
if you like their pandering, then fine.
Yeah. And I would. Yeah, that's actually a very, very good way of putting it. I like their pandering.
Yeah.
Gay.
I mean, that's.
No, I'm just kidding.
so much art is contrived and marketed towards a certain demographic that like you gotta once again try not to look at that. Like the whole point is to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, people take some of these things way too serious.
Yeah, I don't understand how
it's called entertainment.
How musical snobs get so fucking angry at Nickelback. I just don't understand it. If you don't like it, just don't fucking listen to it.
Yeah,
it's really easy.
I don't listen to it. I just like taking the piss out of them.
Yeah, they are fun. They are a fun band to take the piss out of for fun, though. Yeah. If you're not taking it that serious, some people actually get angry and shit.
Yeah, some people genuinely get mad about it. It's like, dude, just put it down. Just forget about it. I can like something you don't like. That's all right.
And you know what's gross about it is let's face it, 90% of people aren't creative or artistic in any way, so they need to just really shut the fuck up. Like, I don't want to hear it at all, you uncreative piece of shit.
Oh, it's weird when people who know nothing about music have high opinions when it comes to music, and it's like, what? It's like, you don't even know shit about music, dude. What are you talking about?
I was talking to John, Extreme Cinema, about this, and like we were talking about how normally the best critics of any type of art are usually creative people themselves, and usually if you actually read their articles, they're usually like really creative in the way they write and everything else. Like I can't stand people who just have no creative bone in their body, and they feel like they can just slander people's creative output, when actually it takes a lot of fucking balls to put shit out there, no matter what it is. It really irritates me.
Yeah, artists make it look easy, and they think that this stuff just falls out of people on accident, and somebody comes and picks it up and puts it on a shelf for them to consume. It's like, no, like, it's really hard to almost get anything done, let alone anything creative or good or even remotely resembling artistic.
Oh my god, look at this. Some faggot came in the chat and said, Rogue timed them out, it's funny. He said, Matthew Stearns said, "You guys are horrible. Come by Unbleached on Saturday at 9 Eastern, so I can show you how it's done, losers." What a
what the fuck? Horrible at what?
We should. What we should do is go on Unbleached Saturday at 9 Eastern and make fun of him and call him a faggot.
Oh, is that like a live
over? I guess so.
Some other show.
We should totally go on there and troll him. But that's probably what he wants, because he wants views.
Does he think we're doing this to be professional critics?
Yeah, no, I don't know. That's funny. I get that a lot too. Like, "Oh, you loser! You only have like 16 people watching. What a fucking loser!" And I was like, "What? I'm not. I have more than that. I'm not even out there trying to promote it." Oh, I totally forgot. I didn't even tweet that I was streaming. I should do that. It's another thing I don't do.
No, you didn't. I didn't know you were streaming when I started talking.
No.
When you said, "Look at the chat," I thought, "What fucking chat? What are you doing here?"
Alfie, I went on that guy's channel and he had 2 subscribers and no content.
Well, he did say come to Unbleached, so he's probably a part of another.
Yeah, but the question is Unbleached spelt like he spelt it, or is it spelt correct? Or
I didn't see how he spelled it. Let me look.
He spelt it without an E, without the last E anyway. Unbleached with a.
I see. Yeah, without the last E. It might be, internet people. They like to misspell shit.
Yeah, internet people are not the best spellers.
All right, so yeah, this guy who blocked me, he was saying, his first tweet was, this is the tweet the guy showed to me. He said, "I gotta hand it to Faggy. He sure does know how to word things to make them sound way more positive than they are." Which is funny in the first place. I don't see how this is not positive. But he said, so Kevin Feige said, "I am so excited for all the characters. Oh, so many crossovers are now possible." And then it says, "Millions of nerds all over the world simultaneously jizz themselves." Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what people want. But yeah, how making it more positive than they are. Like, what's not positive about Marvel getting their own franchises back? I don't get it.
Because Disney's bad, just like Walmart's Disney, bad, and Merrill Lynch is bad.
Even though they're doing a fantastic job with the Marvel films, and they're all fucking huge some of the highest grossing films ever.
I think I found that channel, Alf, and it's channel 400.
No, I found it. I posted
subscribers.
Let's pop over to his video and make fun of
473.
Oh shit! Hold on. Let me finish this, and then we'll do that live. Fuck with him.
We're definitely gonna make fun of your face, Matt. Oh wait, he knows Saiyan Z. He knows Saiyan
Z. Oh, he's one of these guys. Oh, I saw Saiyan Z on Devin's live stream the other day, and he popped up and he just said one thing, and I said, "Hey Kyle, shut the fuck up," and then he stopped and he didn't respond anymore. I think he's like dodging me or something. I think when he sees me, he like runs away. Oh yeah, so these guys said, "People are salivating at the prospect of getting the X-Men to join the MCU, and it blinds them to all the actual problems that come with Disney monopolizing the entirety of pop culture." Can you imagine that? Can you imagine saying Disney's monopolizing the entirety of pop culture? How fucking insane is that? How do you even monopolize pop culture? There's pop culture constantly being created 24/7. Like,
what it is, Disney owns Marvel, and they're using Marvel properties. The end.
Yeah, the end, right? They own Star Wars too. They use Star Wars properties. But I mean, they don't own every property. Like, there's tons of other movie companies. And there's new franchises being born, like, every day, Every year there's another new franchise being born. And all the execs have to
be born.
Yeah, and all the execs have to do is pay lip service to that, and then they'll get away with it. What? Then get away with what? I don't get it. Why would people fight against that? I don't know. It's so weird. These people are weird.
That's not what lip service means either. Yeah, I'm so triggered by fucking words today.
Yeah. As if Marvel actually care about any of that. What they do care about is eliminating competition. Obviously, that's what every company cares about. By buying them out and depriving everyone else of properties that could profit them. No, Marvel only has their own properties. They're not buying other properties. What other properties has Marvel bought that doesn't belong to Marvel in the first place? Like, this guy's just making shit up. X-Men and Fantastic Four belonged to Marvel. They licensed it out, and now they're getting it back. That's all that's happening. The MCU is going to chug along. Nothing will actually change. Everyone's being played here. No one's being played here. Everybody's getting fantastic, fun films that they wanted this whole time. It's crazy because I've been a Marvel fan since I was 6 years old, right? That's over 30 years. I've been waiting for these fantastic things to jump out of the page and go on the silver screen in a fantastic, fun way that plays well to what I grew up enjoying. And it does, and it's perfect. And now I got these fucking little faggots all, Disney's monopolizing everything. Like, shut the fuck up, man. Us fans are getting what we want. You fucking idiots just want to complain and bitch about shit. That's all you ever fucking do. I'm so tired of it. Tired of people bitching about Captain Marvel. Oh, she's a feminist, blah, 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 blah. Fuck that. Watch the movie. Get over it. Like, holy shit. Everybody bitches about this shit before the movie's even out. Like, so say about Doctor Strange. Everybody was saying, oh, it's going to flop. It's going to flop so hard. It's going to be the first big flop. Then it comes out and it's a huge hit. Like, shut the fuck up. Stop being wrong.
And let's just be clear. Disney's doing so good with the stuff they acquire that I kind of wouldn't be mad if they did monopolize it. Maybe everybody should run it past Disney, as good as a job as they've done
Look
far.
What happened with Sony. Sony had the license for Spider-Man. They were destroying the Spider-Man franchise. What did they do? They called up Marvel and said, hey Disney, hey Marvel, you want to make a deal that you make the movies for us and we collect the money? And guess what? That's what happened. And the latest Spider-Man that Marvel made for Sony kicked ass and made tons of money. And didn't fail like the last Spider-Man that Sony made and every other, recent Sony franchise movie. Sony made that Ghostbusters movie. That shit failed, right? Like, everything Sony does or franchises is failing. So what did they do? They called Disney because Disney knows what the fuck they're doing and makes good movies.
Amy K in the chat says, I love people complaining about complainers. So meta. Thank you, Amy K.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. So, all right, so then this guy...
Amy, oh, God. We're not actually complaining about complainers. We're correcting them because they're actually incorrect in their complaints.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of complaining about complainers because I'm tired of them bitching. So.
Al's going to own it.
Yeah, I'm going to own it, man. I'm complaining about them complaining because it's fucking annoying.
I mean, Amy's a fucking woman. All she does is complain.
Yeah, it's true. So this guy continues on saying, Disney have already shown that they don't want to make more movies, which is bullshit. Disney makes tons of movies. They make less after each studio buyout? No, Lucasfilms wasn't making any movies, and then Disney bought them, and now there's a Star Wars movie every year. Right?
I was going to say, hasn't Disney already paid for its buyout of the Star Wars franchise?
Yeah. And Marvel films too. They upped the amount, right? When Disney bought Marvel, I think there was 1 or 2 Marvel movies a year. Now we're up to like 3 or 4 a year. Like,
yeah, I mean, how much has buying Marvel paid off for Disney at this stage?
Oh, incredible amounts. And it's only made the Marvel movies better because, like I said, all they do is throw money at it and let the people that make the movies make it. So yeah, he says they make less after that. They want to own properties, not use them. They own and use them. So, and they own them and then throw money at them to continue doing what they're doing. Except Lucasfilms, I guess, because Lucasfilms wasn't doing shit until Disney bought them. So that's like a whole new thing. And Marvel doesn't experiment. Bullshit. That's why we got a bunch of obscure characters coming out. So all the X-Men will end up in the same old MCU bullshit. They won't do anything new with them. I don't understand. What do you mean new? What new things can you do with X-Men that people won't be like, this is an X-Men? You know? This is what's funny. People bitch about this shit and they'll be like, oh, they're not doing anything new with the characters. But when you do something new and different with the characters, they say, this isn't the comics. This isn't like the comics. This isn't like X-Men, right? And it's like, dude, you just can't win with these guys.
That being said, I do like it when they're faithful to the comics and they just represent it well with good photography. Like, that's all I want to do is believe that these things can happen. You don't have to reinvent a new power. You don't have to blow my fucking mind with some new aspect or like, oh, Cyclops is black now. Like, fuck off. Just
like
give
I
me
said, this is what's awesome about with the Marvel films is that this is what I've wanted since I was a little kid, is to see the comic books jump to life on the big screen, right? And watch movies of what I was reading in comics.
I've got a complete counterpoint to that because I do not give a single shit about
you don't read the comics.
I don't know anything about them. I never read them. I'm not interested in them. I just like the films for what they are. And I think it's very interesting that somebody like me, who has no investment whatsoever in the source material, and somebody like you, who grew up with the source material, can both find the same level of enjoyment in the movies.
That's what the Marvel...
That speaks to Disney's success at making really good films.
That's what Marvel Studios does well. They found the balance between making good films for everyone and pleasing the fans of the source material. You know, they found that perfect balance, which DC doesn't seem to have, and they fuck up every time.
DC is so bad. It is amazing how bad they are.
But what it is they're just not focusing on making a good film. That's the main fucking thing. When you make a movie, you got to focus on making a good movie. You know, that's the main thing.
I can't even rest it at Zack Snyder's feet. Like, it's not even him. I think he's some of the better stuff in there compared to like Suicide Squad. Like, get the fuck away from me. It was not working out for me. But I'm not a movie maker, so I'm not criticizing it.
Yeah. Whatever. But anyway, he continues. How is that good? How is that exciting? It's good and exciting because we'll finally get good X-Men movies instead of the bullshit that that Fox was making. And how are they getting away with this? That's the funny part. How are they getting away with this? What are they getting away with? That's the part I don't understand.
I feel like we got a commie here. He's like,
I don't get it.
Must be done.
This guy, Matthew Stearns. Alf is a loser. I'm like, I'd rather be a
leave
loser
Matthew Stearns. Stop banning him. I want to play with him.
Nobody's banning him. Nobody's banning him.
Okay.
But he said, how are they getting away with it? I don't understand that part. Like, what's to get away with? You think that that's actually a monopoly, that they have their own franchise back? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Again, what folks like Feige here are doing is paying lip service to nerd dreams. Isn't that what comic book movies are, though? Like, they're nerds' dreams. And we still eat that shit up. Well, he said we, so there you go. Any skepticism goes out the window because, oh my god, crossovers, why are we so dense? I don't understand the skepticism part. Why would you be skeptic about a company who has not failed? In fact, you should be charitable.
We're not talking about some fucking conspiracy around the Panama Canal here. You don't require, like, huge levels of skepticism with everything you fucking go into.
No.
It's just...
in fact, you follow trends, and if you want to follow the trend on this, you would actually be charitable about it, because you'd be like, wow, Marvel has not failed in these movies.
Why can't these people just watch a movie, like it or not, and then just move on with their lives? I just don't get it.
Oh yeah, because they're fucking assholes. Like, they just want to bitch about it. They're haters. That's why I call the Taters gonna Tate.
It's crazy because, like, there's a fun way to talk about these and be like, oh, I like this, I didn't like that. You know what I mean? But like, why would you be hyperbolic and interject negativity into any sort of discussion about art? It is so crazy to me.
Yeah, it's weird.
How does that even happen? Like, have you rested your own emotional state on something else?
It's also just weird on the level they take it to with the whole monopoly thing and this and that. And it's like, what? Like, I don't even understand that. Where's the monopoly? Like, so this guy responds,
you're reaching for things. You're all unrealistic about stuff. Like, for what? That's what you would do if you were defending yourself from, like, rape allegations. You'd be just reaching for anything, trying to misconstrue words.
Yeah. So this guy responds with the top grossing movies worldwide, right? He says, of the 4 movies that broke 1,000 million, what a weird way to put it. Why don't you just say 1 billion? Worldwide in 2018, 3 were Disney. It's terrifying. The 3 out of 4 that were Disney. Yeah, but Disney's a huge company, of course. It's terrifying how few studios are in the highest grossing films list already, and them merging and monopolizing should horrify people. Screw the crossovers. Why would it horrify people? I don't get it. It makes no sense. And studios are the high gross. Yeah, also, if other studios, how few studios are in the highest grossing films, are not a testament to Disney being great and taking over companies. It's more a testament of how other film studios fucking suck. Do fucking better. You want these other film companies to be in these top lists? Tell them to do fucking better. Don't bitch about the people who are doing it. It's like arguing, being like, you want to see how many Kenyans win fastest dash? It's fucking crazy. Or like 8 out of the top 10 runners in the world are Kenyan. Don't bitch about Kenyans being the runners. Be fucking faster, you know? That's it. Fucking work harder. It's fucking nuts. And this guy says, also, all those movies are sequels. We live in an era absolutely devoid of creativity. Bullshit. Everything has to be either sequel or an adaptation of some dumbass book or comic. So now they're just complaining that things are adapted from books and comics. So they're bitching that X-Men, a comic book, is going back to its original comic book company to make movies, but he's bitching that everything's comic book movies. The age of new movies is long over. That's so stupid. Some of these are new. Operation Red Sea. That's a new thing. Bitching about movies being adaptations of books, that's nothing new. Movies have always been adaptations of books. It's always been a vast number of movies have always been adapted from books. People, how are you going to act like that's something new? Some dumbass book. You don't read books. That's why it's probably a dumbass book. Dumb fucking, that's so stupid. Operation Red Sea is probably the Meg, that's an original property. That's about it. There isn't much, but yeah, there's a lot of Marvel, but it's not all Disney either. Look, the top 2 are Disney. The third one's Universal. Incredibles? I don't know what that is. What's BV? I'm guessing that's Disney too. Aquaman, Warner Brothers. Yeah, DC, that's Warner Brothers. Venom is Sony. Yeah, Paramount, Fox, Warner Brothers, Disney, Warner Brothers, WG USA, WB, Sony. No, actually, a minority of these in the top 19 are Disney. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Disney movies in the top 19 grossing films. I love how they broke off only 4 of the top 3 are 3 of the top 4 are Disney. Yeah, but 5 of the top 19 are Disney. That's not even good. What the fuck are you talking about? It's so weird. Warner Brothers is actually doing really well. A lot of these are Warner Brothers. So weird. This is where I say these people just want to bitch. They don't really care about the actual stuff. Because half of that doesn't even make sense. All right, Dan, what's up with this Matthew Stearns guy? You got that link? Hello?
Oh, he's muted.
Oh, he's fucking Dan.
Fucked off. Jesus Christ.
He didn't even say anything. All right, let's see what this fan was saying.
He says something.
He's scared. That's why he booted me. I didn't boot anybody. So that's inherently wrong. Oh, Dan.
Yeah,
what's this guy's link? Okay, what's this guy's link? Said, hey,
I posted it a little while ago. See if
this from an elf follower? Whatever. It will never happen.
You ready to go?
It's just that. Yeah, I told you after I was done reading that, we were going to go check out the site, right? Oh, here it is.
Yeah, I just posted it.
Okay. Let's see what goofy kind of shit this guy does.
Yeah, you guys might have covered it unmuted for a second, but he's obviously just trying to stir up drama for a shit show. 400 subs, who cares?
Yeah.
And guess what? You've come to the right place. You have set the hook, and you are reeling us in, sir. We will come to your channel and talk shit.
Unbleached. This is this guy's fruity channel. Let's see.
Who's on? Twitch is a weird place at this hour because you never know what you're gonna get.
Is this one of those like really weird stream sniping channels? Oh god, what was that one we were watching? I think it was from that. We went on that Discord.
Up on PC, like listening to all.
And they were watching Owen Benjamin or whatever, and I was like, God, this is boring.
Oh yeah, Nightwave, Return of the Sis.
Oh god, that was horrendous.
Owen Benjamin's fucking lost.
Yeah, he's lost,
Owen Benjamin's losing his mind right now. It's great.
We didn't land on the moon, and Joe Rogan's a fucking cook.
Yeah.
Look at this. I'm not, I don't get a lot of views, and I don't say I get a lot of views, and I don't go on other people's channels calling them losers and stuff.
Talking
like,
views.
Yeah, come to my channel, see how it's done. But this guy, this is his latest stream from the 5th, and there's 66 views on this. Like, you're gonna come at me? Like, what? Oh god.
What's funny is to see all these people that like they're trying to jump on the trend like so late. They got like a nice
right?
studio, and they got like this guy's got this huge banner behind them. They got like monitors on the walls, and then smash cut to their sub count is 450 people, and they think that they're going to be the next. This is like the Oofcast. They thought they're going to be the next big thing, you know. It's always so funny.
Amy said unbleached. He talking about his asshole. he just leaves that asshole brown. He's not looking to bleach it. He just lets it get fucked.
Seem like Jim and M.
Oh shit! What's this though? Say and Z Entertainment gets a new studio. So yeah, he is one of these people that follows like Say and Z. And
I'm gonna go to
right. Sorry, you're gonna have to clue me in. What the fuck does Say and Z?
That's that. Don't you remember that guy Kyle that kept fucking with me? That Saiyan guy. He kept popping up on my fucking with me. He kept popping in the streams and talking shit to me.
You 40-year-old and you pick up dog poop,
he's like,
stupid.
Oh, you pick up dog poop for a job, for a living? And I'm like, what's wrong with that? At least I can have a job. The dude didn't even have a job. I'm like, you're making fun of me.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. I was like, you didn't have a job. Well, yeah, it ends up that dude is a total fucking joke, and there's like this huge group of people who just follow him along to make fun of him and see the stupid shit he does.
At the end, the joke was on you, though, Alf, because you went around with him for 4 hours.
Yeah, but that was fun. Come on. That was so much fun.
He was so repetitive, though, dude.
Yeah, he was. Like, no, we're like, what the fuck? What a stupid loser. Yeah, that was funny. Well, what's up, Terrorball?
It's weird to come across like another Sarah Hatcher type where they've got like their own cult following of like haters yet like spectators, sort of like like at this point we're almost fans of Sarah Hatcher and her unintentional comedy, and it's the same as Say and Z. He's got like a cult following, like that movie The Room, right?
Yeah.
It's like
so bad it's good. Yeah. But look at this guy. This shit looks boring as fuck. What is he doing?
Yeah,
this whole studio. It's such a shitty angle to be at too, to set up your camera.
I love it when he comes out of timeout and you can tell he's constantly trying to talk all the time.
It's marked as okay. Now
so what's the content of the show? Is he sitting around talking about comic book movies, or is he?
I don't think so. I think he just talks about other YouTube channels, basically.
Wow,
so at least that's what I'm getting so far. Let me see. Yeah, like this one says. Let me mute this so people can.
Oh, look at that mixing desk, Dan.
But this one says Matt is live for the first show of 2019. The channel, he misspelled channel. The Chanel is under attack. YouTube emails. YouTube not spelt as one word. Funny. Where's Jama? I don't know who that is. Smartphone joins the show to recap some of the lonely man's antics. Yeah, see, these are all YouTubers. Say and Z Entertainment gets a new studio. Radio Report deletes a video. Whoa. Don A looking fat and rippled. Jarva update. Brian Peterson has created a new podcast network. Battle chats and is it GPN? Yeah, who cares? This is boring. I'm done with this already.
I'm still kind of impressed by his studio and juxtapose that by his sub count. I see a bunch of thirsty people getting in late on the YouTube money train.
He has the equipment to have potential, but the potential isn't there, I guess. That's all.
Well, you know, if you don't have unbridled talent, then what you should do is build yourself a really nice studio and just prattle on about nothing and fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah, fake it till you make it, yeah. Oh, it's possible. You get... The internet's a funny thing. You can get huge easily just because there's so many fucking doofuses out there that'll follow you, even though you're doing stupid, untalented bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And people will still follow you.
It's true. You almost kind of want to aim for a certain amount of mediocrity if you want to make it big.
Not even mediocrity. I think you want to lowball shit. I think you want to be lowbrow.
You want to go lower?
Yeah,
for that 90 IQ demo?
Yeah, I think if you want to be popular on YouTube, I think and quick, that's the way to do it, is to lowbrow shit. Look at Andy Worski. I mean, it's shit like that.
Yeah, I was just going to say Andy Worski.
That's what I'm saying. You're an idiot, be an idiot, and you'll have tons of fucking views and subs.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, there's so many of these YouTube people. Well, I probably don't even hate them as much as I just really dislike their fans. And they're probably like all right people, but their fans, like maybe almost any fan base is kind of just dog shit just by nature of being a fan base. Like you just got a mob that's all lined against some arbitrary sort of line in the sand that they've drawn. It's like tribalistic warfare played out.
This thing, this image on my background is pissing me off because it's not even. Oh, there you go. All right, it was a little off, and I was like, "That's pissing me off." I kept staring at it, like, "What the fuck?" Okay. Yeah, it's weird. The internet's weird like that, but it's probably because most of the internet users are probably are young, you know, teens to 20s. And they like goofy shit. Teenagers like goofy shit. I know I liked a bunch of goofy shit when I was a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so.
At least you hope that's what it is.
I mean, it's just there's a selection bias sort of thing that happens too, where it's like only the kind of person that would, you know, spend a bunch of time on the internet talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the kind of person that's going to come around throwing around Monopoly like crazy.
Yeah, true. Oh, Disney's creating a monopoly. Like, what are you talking about? They're so far from being a monopoly. It's not even close. Like, it's nowhere near being worried about it at this point.
Are we pawning faggots?
We're pawning faggots. Not even. The funny was the part where he says a monopoly on pop culture. Like, how do you even do that? It's like new pop culture is constantly being created. You can't possibly have a monopoly on it. It'd be so difficult.
Yeah. It's too fucking fluid to ever get a grasp on it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And things come and go like crazy.
Is Andy Wassky still a thing? Does he do stuff anymore?
I don't know. I haven't even paid attention to even know.
I'm just looking at his channel now. He's not done anything for 3 weeks.
Wow. Yeah,
he's in training for his big fight, Chris.
If that even happens, I haven't heard anything about that fight, and it's supposed to be in like 10 days.
Yeah,
so who knows?
He's doing the whole Rocky thing. You know, he's running up steps.
Yeah,
this isn't even a threat. I can tell you right now, if that fight doesn't happen, there's going to be thousands of people hunting these guys down to fuck them up in a grocery store parking lot. Me and Billy are going to form an alliance.
Billy's one of them.
I will fucking take Andy Warski and hang him by his neck, bro, and stretch his legs out. I swear to fucking God. I'll do so many fucking things to this fucking guy.
Looking out.
Oh, God.
I've been waiting for this.
Billy's gonna go and buy a fucking medieval rack and
exactly a torture rack just to stretch him. Just Andy has.
Just ring up
oh, go ahead.
Up like a local dominatrix. I'm sure you'll be able to get something that'll work. You know.
I saw. He said that he's reformatting again and no more drama, and he's gonna do something more produced soon.
Bullshit.
I don't believe you, Andy.
Nah, he's gonna do it for a little while. His subs
and then he'll get
bored of
that.
Down.
He's gonna suck at it, and he's gonna go back.
Yeah, it's not being bored of it. It's that it doesn't get him the views and subs that he was getting.
Oh yeah,
from the
well,
drama
that too.
shit,
The thing is, he hasn't actually got any talent, so he has to go back to what he knows.
Yeah, that's the only thing that works for him because he doesn't.
Here's the thing: is he was so close with just debate. I think debate's a great format. Don't make it drama. Don't make it kumite. Just make it a debate.
Either way, just make it whatever it comes to be. Maybe.
You mean like when he had like Jeff on and stuff like that as his partner? When
yeah.
Oh, that was terrible. Though.
That was. I mean, it was promising though. If like there's one thing, drama's one thing, and having conflicting ideas played out in a coherent manner is another thing altogether.
Yeah.
You know, just platforming the alt-right every day is what
that was
let's face it, that's really what happened.
Yeah, that was the problem he had.
Every fucking day they had to be on there. He asked me to debate what's-his-face on there. I laughed. I was like, nah.
Debate who?
Who's what's-his-face?
The Mexican Virgin.
Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I'll fucking wind up ripping this guy's throat out through the screen or something like that. I want to hurt the guy, bro, and then like I'll be looked at as the ass because I just wanted to kill the guy because he's a smarmy little bitch.
I would have liked to see that, Billy.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
I'm not a debater. I'm not this facts out of my head guy. You know, like, it's not my fucking thing, and that's what these all fucking guys love. They learn that shit and memorize it so they could. You know, they think they fucking are good at debating, but no, they're not good at debating. They're just good at memorizing facts.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
It's all rhetoric.
The only ones that I've ever seen doing it, they're like those black groups, debate groups who do this sort of thing where they just talk really fast.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what people like Nick Fuentes do. They just say lots of stuff as fast as they can and don't let you have any kind of response.
They stick to templates, and once you throw that off, they don't know what to do, and they'll just repeat the template
they're reading from a script.
Yeah, exactly. It's bullshit. You didn't come up with any of these thoughts. Why are you debating? Just have somebody read whatever you fucking read. Like, that's not even a debate to me. I think a debate is more like you're using your mind and being creative on how you're trying to express your thoughts and ideas.
I just think of it, someone tells you some shit and you fucking react back. It's like a conversation.
Yeah,
like, I know it's not a formal debate.
Yeah.
Like a formal debate is different, but this is fucking the internet.
But a debate where it's boring, debate. Isn't it? A debate of somebody who's just two people just throwing information at each other. And
exactly, especially if you're not going to actually counter anything anyone says.
And it's useless. Your ideas, the point of a debate is to hear a person's ideas, not to hear a person regurgitate
It's so
other
much more
people's
engaging
ideas.
to have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah. Isn't that
it
what
can
happened?
Be a conversation where we disagree. That's sort of a debate.
That's what happened. That's what happened between me and that Isaac guy, the vegan dude. All he did was throw vegan templates at me. The same exact arguments I've been hearing since the 90s. He threw all of those at me.
Right.
And I was just giving him my ideas. I wasn't taking any information from anywhere. I was just giving him my thoughts. And it threw him for a loop. And he would laugh and say, "Oh, that's ridiculous." And it's like, no, it's not ridiculous. That's how I think. You're supposed to try to defeat that, and you can't with your fucking textbook fucking template bullshit.
The problem is an interesting conversation. Most people are not equipped and prepared to actually engage in that. No. So it always comes back to template warrior or I know you are, but what am I? Drama bullshit.
Yeah, none of these guys have ideas of their own. It's just they're just regurgitating shit, and that's all it is.
That's what happened when you talk to them, Dan. They get thrown off.
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah, same thing with me, with most of us in general, because we're all people who have our own ideas. So when you talk to people like this who don't have their own ideas, we throw like they're used to talking to other people who are also regurgitating shit, so they know how to counter all those things. But when you talk to somebody with their own ideas, they throw wrenches, and you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, look, here's a wrench, and then that's it. They get thrown off, and they don't know where to go because it's not.
Yeah, when people engage in these like tactics and these ploys, you gotta acknowledge that right out the gate. Be like, I see what you're doing.
Yep.
You're doing this right here, and deal with it. And then, like Billy said, people are just jilted by that. They're thrown off. They don't know what to do.
So it happened instantly that Isaac dude was DMing me before we actually had the stream, and I was like, and he was asking me all these questions. Oh, so we're gonna do this or this format? I was like, I don't know. I just want to talk. I'm not doing any formats. So from him asking me those questions, I was like, I already know you're coming at me as a template warrior. You're going to bring all your templates. And he laughed.
Template warrior, I like that.
Yeah, that's the term I came up with for him, but I keep using
like
it
it a lot.
And I'm like, that's exactly what you're going to do. And he was like, he kept defending it. He was like, the reason I started talking to him was because he responded to one of Devin's tweets saying that he lost to Nick Fuentes, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "All Nick Fuentes
they all said that shit.
Yeah, I was like, all Nick Fuentes did was stick to a template, and Devin would ask him questions that he wouldn't know how to respond to. He kept throwing him off his template.
I got to give you some credit, Alf. Template warrior, you coined that a while ago. That's basically a precursor to the NPC.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, it's true. That's basically the NPC meme. But they don't know it because all the people who say NPC and call other people NPCs are template warriors. Like, those guys are the same people who just regurgitate shit over and over again, and they call everyone else NPCs. Which is funny to me. It's all these conservative right-wing guys who just repeat the same shit. Oh, fuck the Jews.
I mean, NPC is the perfect slam because it can literally be wielded against anybody at any time. Because almost nobody's original. And like I said, it's really hard to engage in a very interesting conversation that's dynamic and linear. So, it's just everybody's calling everybody an NPC. If everyone's an NPC, then guess what? Nobody's an NPC.
Yeah, then nobody's an NPC. That's exactly right. That's why I'm saying
playing the game.
All these people who use the term NPC and call other people that are NPCs. Like, they are what they're calling other people.
Dude, they know what an NPC is. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't have a loser gamer friend, I wouldn't know what that is.
Oh, me telling you what it is?
No, not you, actually. Not you, Al. Don't kid, I know in real life.
I was explaining that to everybody.
IRL friend. But if I didn't have him, I wouldn't know what the fuck an NPC is, dude. Yeah. I know Madden, I knew Fallout. That's all I knew, bro. NPC? Are you kidding?
Yeah, the first time I heard that meme, I think we all started. Didn't we start riffing on what it could mean? Because I didn't know what NPC meant.
I think I'm the one.
I knew what it was right away, but only because, like I said.
Yeah, I knew what it was. I think I explained it to you, Dan. I think that's how you found out. I think I remember you talking about it, and I was like, "Oh no, an NPC is this. It means a non-player character." Blah blah blah.
Imagine that, like, all these people know what it is, so that's how much of a loser they are.
But it's goofy. Like, look, you know who's one of these people who use that? And I know some people like Rowan, but he's a weirdo. Rowan uses NPC, and Rowan's one of these people. He regurgitates conservative talking points. I've heard
Rowan
him say
is one of the dumbest people I've ever seen in my fucking life.
He's a huge Nick Fuentes fan, and I've seen him say so many, many things from Nick Fuentes, and it's like, dude, you're just... Nick Fuentes himself is an NPC. All he does
Who
is
has
say the
sex
same
first?
shit.
Who has sex first? Him or fucking
Rowan has a head start. Rowan's older, but I don't know.
Wouldn't it be great to have sex with each other?
Oh no, it wouldn't be great. It'd be gross.
God, this fucking tool.
Plus, Rowan's anti-butt sex now. It's degenerate behavior.
Oh yeah. Just what's his stance on oral though?
I don't know. That I don't know.
Degenerate. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Degenerate. Dude, you know your mom got dicked to have you, bro. You know that. So your mom's a degenerate.
You're a product of degenerate behavior, Rowan. Deal with it. Yeah. Can we start a GoFundMe to drug Rowan and take him to the Bunny Ranch in Las Vegas and get him laid? Put him on it.
I'd rather do a GoFundMe to throw him off a building.
I'd rather spend money on prostitutes.
Ship him out to sea.
Cut his cock off by now.
I think Rowan's pretty much a lost cause at this stage.
Oh God, he's beyond lost.
Yeah, but well beyond.
So is Fuentes in different ways, but
difference between Fuentes is still young.
Yeah, Fuentes
is a religious retard, bro.
Yeah, but like we said, he's still young. He's only 20.
Was he 24?
No, he's 20. He just turned 20.
Yeah, he
thinks
his
he's
birthday
like
was like 2 months ago. He just turned 20.
He thinks he's an older man, like in his brain. So,
but I mean, but you know how people fucking
he's lost.
Yeah, but that when they're young.
Yeah, to me that just demonstrates that he's still got a lot of learning to do, and he might learn.
Oh, bro, he can't even figure out fucking God.
Wouldn't it be crazy if Nick
can't figure out God? That's a pretty normal thing, really.
No, but like okay. I feel like people who are 20 may have questioned it their whole life. This motherfucker, no, he's bitten in hook, line, and sinker since day one.
Yeah, but again, at 20 years old, if that's the environment you brought up in, 20 years old is fuck all. You know, I'd want to come back and see what he's saying when he's 35. Yeah, you're probably right. Don't misunderstand me. You're probably right. But he could turn around completely. You don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, wouldn't that be crazy if Nick Fuentes was like a powerhouse when he's 40 and it's just like looking back at his earlier stuff? Because you got to say, if you're 19 and you're a pretty decent, successful broadcaster, that's interesting. You know, he's got chops and skills somehow.
Yeah, he brings
I don't know if I would class him as decent and successful as a broadcaster. Isn't that exactly why he has his mental meltdowns? Because people don't take him seriously, and he isn't that successful.
I wasn't aware of his meltdowns, but I mean, he's got his name out there, and
you fucking seen his paranoid conspiracy.
Yeah, by these losers on the internet. That's all. The only people that know him.
Yeah, exactly. It's only us that know who he is. Nobody outside of these circles really know who he is at all.
Well, sure, you can denigrate his accomplishments, but I'm just saying, when I was 19, I would have loved to have accomplished anything.
Oh yeah, but if this was available to us, Dan,
when you were 19, you had access to all of this internet that exists now. I think you'd have done very fucking well.
Oh, yeah.
Like my friend had like some slight access when we were in high school, and we went on fucking AOL and stupid shit. Like, but it wasn't this. Like, you know, it was
no. When I was 19. I was successful because all I wanted to do was get ass, and that's what I did. Meanwhile, Nick Fuentes is a virgin, talking to people, talking to other virgins on the internet.
I mean,
my goal was to go out and get laid, and that's all I did was get laid and play music.
I think Rowan has a better chance of becoming a non-virgin than he does of becoming a non-Christian.
You reckon? Okay.
I don't know. It's close. It's close, but.
I don't know. Fast forward to 2045, and Rowan could be like a congressman or something on TV.
I mean, someone could rape Rowan, so.
I think somebody probably already has. I think that's kind of.
Oh fuck!
Does that count?
That's a good point.
Does that count as losing his virginity?
Damn, I didn't go there.
I was going to say sorry. You can't get it too dark too quick.
You don't get a Rowan without a little bit of child molestation.
There's a little bit of cat, definitely.
Oh man.
Sorry, Rowan, if you're listening, which I know you're not. But...
No, he's not going to be listening.
He's listening to Nick.
I like the idea that if he was listening, he would just like rapture in his seat, and like his headphones would fly off his head, like he's swatting flies away from his picnic or something.
The thing is, he's so against anal sex that nobody's that against anal sex.
Oh, there you go, Chris. Now I get it.
Why would you be against anal sex? I see it.
Well, don't get me wrong. It's not one of my personal like.
Yeah, but you're not against it.
Thing, but you're not definitely not against it.
That's the difference. I'm saying, why would anybody be against it? Like that's the point. Like maybe you don't like it, you don't want it. That's fine. Like my thing is, why is everybody going into other people's bedrooms again? I thought we got over this. Now it's all about this guy's a
just
cuck.
Like little
this guy's this, and it's like
they're like little Christians again.
I don't get the whole cuck insult.
Degeneracy.
Like, to me, I can understand cuck being an insult when it's like you're doing it against your own wishes and your wife is fucking people in front of you, even though you don't like that. But I mean, if it's your bedroom and you like watching your wife get fucked,
I mean, I find it weird, but
it's weird. Whatever. But I mean, how is that an insult? Like, who gives a shit? People like what they like. Get out of people's bedrooms. You know, I don't give a shit if people are gay and having sex with dudes.
But they just use it. They overuse that term, and they don't even use it to the exact meaning anyway. They just make it anyone who like a dude, you know, played you.
Yeah, they don't use it right.
Cuck.
That's why I'm like, I don't get the insult really. Like, and some people like, this is what was where I was thinking about this, and me and Marino were talking about it, was because of Jeff Holiday, which, you know, I don't like Jeff Holiday, but sometimes I have to defend him because people say stupid shit. This was the whole thing. They were calling him a cuck, and I watched the video, right? There's a video that said, proof Jeff Holiday is a cuck. So I clicked it, and I watch it, and it's a live stream with Jeff Holiday. And this is what he says. Fucks women. I was like, so how does that make him a cuck? Yeah, I was like, how does that make him a cuck? It's not against his wishes. He's totally cool with it. And in fact, he's benefiting from it.
It's not another man either.
He enjoys it, yeah, and he's benefiting from it. But this is how these people are taking it so serious that it's like,
he's also a pedophile. Didn't you know that?
Yeah, because he has a triangle tattoo. And it's like, he's a pedophile. Like, yeah, right. Get out of here.
Let's hold on now. If your wife fucks another woman without you, that's not as good as if your wife fucks another woman with you.
Yes.
Right?
But it's better than if your wife fucks a man without you.
Right. Yeah. So we're getting a spectrum
or in front of you.
That's what I'm saying. People aren't separating the spectrums here, and there's parts of that's not even bad. I mean, I guess it would be bad if that's what I'm saying. It depends on what you like. Some people like to watch their wives get fucked. You know what I'm saying? If they like that, then they like that. That's their own personal thing. You know, that's not anybody else's fucking business. Who gives a shit?
It's also, you're not. That's not how it's used, you dickhead.
Yeah. Now, if it's
this is the meme.
Yeah. Or if it's like your wife's fucking a dude in front of you because she's dominant over you, then that's a different story. That's what a cuck is, right? That's literally what a cuck is. Like, your wife has dominated you, basically.
And I think we can all agree it's worse if it's a black guy than a white guy, right?
Dan's asking for a friend.
Oh, that's right.
Dan's asking for a friend. In general, I don't give a shit if it's a black guy or a white guy. Why would that matter? Well, I'm not into watching my girlfriends or wives get fucked, so I guess for me it doesn't.
I feel like this is the one area
wife fuck black girls.
Is it black girls? Yeah. I feel like this is the one area where I'm actually racist. Like if I was like, my wife gets fucked by a guy, I'm like, well, it better at least be a white guy. If it's a black guy, I'm like doubly pissed.
Is it because of the size? Is it because of the size of their dick?
Yeah, it's totally my insecurity.
Oh, okay,
right?
Yeah.
It's not just dick insecurity.
Let me tell you a story. This happened to me once. I had a friend, right? He went away to the military, and then he came back, and he was showing me pictures of like his friends over there, right? And one was this chick. And she was really cute, right? And he's showing it to me, and he's like, oh, yeah, this chick. And I'm like, dude, that chick's cute. Did you bang her? Meanwhile, in all these pictures, there's a black dude there that was his friend, and he's, you know, they both have their arms around her and shit like that. And I'm like, oh, shit, did you bang her? And he was like, nah, she banged the black dude. And I was like, yeah, so? He was like, oh, no, I don't bang chicks that bang black dudes. And I was like, what? So for the longest time, I was thinking this dude was racist. I was like, dude, that's some racist shit. And for the longest time, I was thinking, like, dude, this dude's racist as hell. But then it was like maybe 2 or 3 years later, I was talking to someone else about it, and they were like, what if he just has a small dick? And I was like, oh, that's a good point. I never even thought about that. That could just all be insecurities of having a small dick, and then he's gonna automatically assume the black guy's gonna have a big dick, right? So That's funny. So yeah, so he might not be racist at all. I was like, I realized that later on. It was like, oh no, he might just be insecure.
And let's face it, there's a certain kind of girl that that bangs black dudes, and that's just a cultural marker.
No, not always. Come on now.
All right.
Maybe a lot of the time, but not always. I mean,
well, it's just it's like if a girl picks her nose, you know stuff about her. If
is
a girl has
there a double
feet,
standard with that then? Because I mean, I fuck all types of girls of all kinds of races. I fucked black girls, I fucked Asian girls, and white girls.
No, I mean no. Look, if you're just an equal opportunity sexer, then that's one thing. But I'm
you
saying
mean
like girls that like exclusively fuck
just,
guys tend to be culturally more towards black.
Well, I think that just tends to be more ghetto chicks.
It's also white guilted chicks.
Marino's like, so Dan just has a small dick.
Yeah, thanks, Marino.
I've seen
the punchline was implied, Marino, but thanks for putting it on the nose.
Yeah, I never got the only preference. That was always bizarre.
Yeah, I don't get that either. But I mean,
only do this one type of person. What?
Yeah, that's weird to me too. But I mean,
cool, bro. Send them over to me. The other one.
Yeah, right. Give me all the other chicks. I'm cool with that. I bang any kind of chick. I don't give a shit if they're green, purple, fucking polka dotted. I don't give a shit. All pussies.
No, I think it depends.
If you from Mars and you have a pussy, we will fuck
we will fight
body
for sure. Yes, yeah.
I don't care if you're yellow, white.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
I think it depends who you grow up around, though, doesn't it? Like, I'm sure Billy and Alf grew up around like a lot of
we grew up in multicultural
different
areas.
races. Like, I grew up like there was only white girls in my school. Like, that's it.
I was talking to Cameron.
You're racist for not fucking.
Look at Cameron.
But yeah, like it doesn't mean. But it doesn't mean like there aren't black girls or whatever that I don't like. I find attractive or something. Of course there is, but like
yeah.
You see, I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, and I'm kind of like Alf. I like pretty much any race of chick, apart from, and I'm really sorry about this, but apart from black girls, I just don't like them. I don't find them attractive at all.
You do some of them because I've heard you say
that's white racism. Right
but
yeah,
I've noticed that
I do the ones that have clearly had a lot of white mixed in.
Yeah, the lighter ones. That's true. It's true.
Oh yeah,
he likes the more softer looking ones.
Sort of a Rihanna shade black.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah.
But properly black. No, I'm not into that. And if that makes me racist, but
nah, I don't think it's racist. That's just a preference. I mean, some people are going to think it is.
Preference.
Yeah, some people are going to think it's racist. But you can't change those people's minds.
I mean, again, like I said before, where I grew up, there were no black people anywhere. You just didn't see them. I mean, Alf, you've heard how fucking astonished I am.
Chris, you sure you weren't just
a black guy in the takeaway. It's just like, whoa, what the fuck, a black guy?
It's shocking to you. I'm gonna have Chris come visit me, and I'm gonna take him to like the black ghetto in Jersey City, like to show him, like just walk around the black ghetto with him. Let's see what Chris's reaction is.
I mean, there was like we have a big Asian community, and there's like still a lot of black people in Liverpool.
By
so
Asian, you mean more like West Asian, right? Like Indian and stuff, or do you mean like Chinese?
No, like Chinese. Chinese is the biggest community. Yeah, like we have like a Chinatown. So like I saw a lot more Asian girls than I did black, but there's still a lot of there's still quite a few black girls, and I knew quite a few black people. Like once I started like making my way into the city, you know, like out of like I got to know like a lot more people. But at school, for example, when I was like really young, it was like just white. Well, I think the second to last year of high school, like there was 2 black girls who came. They were like fresh off the boat, like really thick accents and shit, and then there was like 1 Asian guy, and that was it.
Yeah, I guess I grew up in a Hispanic area, so we get all colors, right? Like Hispanics come in all ranges of color, from like white to black and everything in between. So I'm used to seeing everybody.
Yeah,
out there. Yeah, it's tricky.
We had a Greek girl as well. White, really, isn't it? Like
yeah, Greeks. Yeah, they can be olive though.
They could be either or.
They tend
white
or
some like more Mediterranean.
People who like non-white people in Britain, they get like a tan from the fucking English rain, so like they kind of look different than like you know, people of color who are like in the sun all the time.
People of color.
I'm trying to be as PC as possible.
Well, that's what I'm calling you on.
Well, I mean, like, what do you want me to say? Like the fucking, because I'm not gonna list every fucking ethnicity.
No,
I'm like,
that could be the only place where it works, maybe. Like,
yeah,
but then nah.
It kind of works.
That the media does here, where when they're talking about generally Pakistani people, so they call them Asians. It's like nobody thinks someone from Pakistan's an Asian.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Even though technically
and they're like,
are.
Yeah, technically it's the Asian continent, and you're like, oh fuck, just piss off.
Yeah. Why don't you just say Pakistani?
Well, you know why, Chris. You know
I know why.
Yeah. It's like, I don't even see why that's racist anyway. It's just a fucking country. Like, there's people of all different ethnicities in Pakistan. Like, you know what I mean? I don't see why it's a race
I want you to
thing.
know it's Pakistanis. Because then you'll
I guess
it's Muslims.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but then even that, it's like...
That's the unspoken insinuation that they're trying to get away from. That what you're actually saying is Muslim.
If it is, even if somebody was saying Muslim, it's like, it's a fucking religion, it's not a race.
Yeah, you couldn't say Muslim as a descriptor for somebody for like where they came from, because as you say, it's a religion, not a race.
No, well, here's the thing, like, most Arabs are Muslim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most Muslims are not Arab, probably. I would assume a lot of them.
Yeah, but I'm sure that's skewed though. Like, I'm sure that's like...
But okay, there is a reason why it's somewhat racial, but it's not. These people fucking exaggerate it and make it to be some shit. They just like want to call you a racist because you're fucking talking.
If you say
what I meant before when I said,
but it did start in Arabic countries, right?
More what I said before. What I meant before when I said people trying to avoid saying Pakistani because it implies Muslim is because most Pakistanis, especially who come here, are Muslim. And that is the automatic implication. If you say you're Pakistani, I do not think you're a Pakistani Christian, even though Pakistani Christians are absolutely a thing. Sort of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, but I would like to see the numbers of the Islamic faith in, like, 5-10 years or something, because if you look at the population growth of Africa, which is fucking exploding, and the prevalence of Islam in that country, like, I'd love to see the fucking numbers of the racial, the racial breakdown of the Islamic religion in the future. If Black and Arabs would be like almost equal at some point.
There's a lot over here. I've seen a lot of Black Muslims.
I think there might be more Black Muslims in America than Arabic Muslims. I think
that's possible. If Arabs are the majority now, Muslims.
Well,
that's what I'm thinking. Like worldwide.
I don't know. Maybe not worldwide. I think in the U.S. they are though. We don't have very many Muslims in the U.S., but in the U.S.
I'm not talking about America. I'm talking about worldwide.
Yeah, you think there's more Black than Arab?
Obviously, I don't think of things in terms of America.
No. I was saying. I was just bringing that up. That I think in America.
No, I'm not sure, but
I think it's pretty
Muslims
close.
Are all over the place.
Yeah.
Dude,
there's Asian ones too. Don't forget that.
Well, I think it's pretty close. I think it is getting close now, because if you were to look at the continent of Africa, like the population,
really,
like it's fucking exploding, and there's a lot of Islamic countries.
Is that just like in northern Africa, or is the south of the continent as well? I think it's just the north of the continent, right?
No, I think it's like if you go to like.
Oh, here we go. Arabs comprise 20% of Muslims.
Whoa.
See, I knew it. It's Caucasian. They're gonna say it's fucking what's it called? It's like a lot of Persians too.
30% come from India, and India,
wow.
And the rest live in Asia, outside the Middle East, West.
Oh, but they don't even have Black in there. What's up with that?
Yeah, they don't even have. It's not by race, probably.
It's not by race.
Indonesia, 30% of all Muslims worldwide.
Indonesia
is the largest religion in Africa.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
But that doesn't say much, because Africa was very tribal. There never was one dominating religion in Africa. It was always a bunch of religions.
But I mean,
so
Christianity was quite big there, I guess. So.
In South Africa only, really, not in the other countries.
I don't know. I know Britain spent a lot of time converting the colonies that we occupied.
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole thing with was it Sudan? Basically the fucking battles going on between the Christian and the Muslim gold miners, or was that I think that was the Central African Republic, I think it's called. But there was like Christian gold miners and Muslim gold miners basically fucking killing each other over,
So, I Love You America, Sarah Silverman's show got canceled. No second season.
What show?
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's getting canceled, because nobody knew about it. But it was I Love You America. It's her doing fucking social commentary on America. We all know she fucking lies. And then lies for social justice, and then doesn't regret lying. She just regrets getting caught lying. Remember that when she lied about getting paid less at a comedy show, and then the owner of the comedy show came out and said, "Hey, that's not what happened."
Did she lie?
Yeah, he's like, "That's not what happened. You weren't invited. You came up as a guest because you showed up with another comedian." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll give you this little spot." And then he gave her cab money to go home. He didn't pay her because she wasn't.
See, I don't get this.
And then she came out saying that was true. And then instead of apologizing for lying, she came out saying that she regretted saying the lie because she got caught in it, basically, and it made it.
Yeah. She regrets being caught. Was it her who recently basically like bumped some guy off stage, or was that the blonde girl?
That I don't know.
The set, and she just was like, she just basically told him to get off the stage.
It's kind of sad because Sarah Silverman used to be the super anti-PC, say whatever the fuck you want to say kind of comedian.
Yeah.
I've seen her.
I never liked her though. Even
I thought she
even
was
though
funny.
that was her shtick, I never liked her because she was just.
her.
I thought she was boring.
But
did you see?
There's this one where she has a huge argument with a guy on Bill Maher's old show. I forgot what it was called, but it was his old show on
Political Correctness.
Yeah, political, duh. And because she made a joke with her friend that had to do with saying the word chink with Asian people. But the joke is, she's making the joke as if she's dumb, so it's the point is that dumb people are racist, you know what I'm saying? But the guy didn't like this. She said chink, so there was like the national Asian racist guy, that goes against racism or whatever, and they were arguing about it.
And now she does the same thing.
And now she does the same thing, yeah. And it's like, dude, like 20 years ago you were arguing.
And I'm sure she'll say she was right in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't.
Have you seen?
Here, I found racial makeup of Muslims in America. Yeah. They say white 30%,
wow,
23% black, 21% Asian. But what does that mean? Is that Arab? Because it doesn't have Arab here, obviously.
That probably.
Arab's not a race. So what are Arabs considered
they're split
under race?
They're split between Asia and Africa, so they could be Asian or African, really.
They could, yeah.
Typically here, when we would say Asian.
See, but they word it weird. White, black, Asian. Like, why are there two colors and then one fucking continent?
Because you're not allowed to call them yellow.
All the Arab designations for races. That's it. The fact that two are colors and one isn't doesn't really mean anything.
Matter.
So, like, what Arabs would consider themselves white or black? Because they wouldn't necessarily consider themselves Asian.
No, but they would consider themselves Asian. That's not true.
Yes.
Would they?
Yes.
I don't know. I've never met a fucking Arab here that was like, "Yeah, I'm Asian."
Yeah,
no, we don't consider that.
I mean,
some might say they're white though, or like
they would probably say they were Arabic.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't deny that they were Asian either.
It's a hard.
No, but it's like you ask them what race they think they were. I don't think anyone would say Asian.
No, but again, if you said,
if they're from Asia,
that's part of the Asian, race, they would say yes.
I think this is what confuses shit. Yeah, maybe this is why everyone's fucking having race wars. Yeah. They put white and black as the name of the race, and the other one's Asian. What the fuck?
Again, I don't know. To me, that just seems that they're harmless designations. I don't know how else you'd say it.
Well, no, European, I'm saying, African, why are they not using all three at the same type of thing? By continent or by color, like whatever they're gonna name.
Why not? I don't understand why it's a problem.
Because I'm saying that's maybe what's causing everyone to be fucking psycho.
I don't have a problem with the white-black part, but I think it causes a problem when you get to places like Asian, because Asian does have multiple distinctions between them, you know?
Yeah,
there's Arabic Asians, you know.
Even when you talk about like Chinese and Japanese, they fucking hate each other.
Oh yeah, yeah, but they both have kind of similar background in genetics. But when you're talking about Indian people, that's totally different from Chinese people. You know, there's both Asian, but they're both totally different in genetics and shit. Then you got, Russians. Then you got Asian Russians who are totally different as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think you need like 2 more, because then Russians, a lot of Russians are going to call themselves white.
Yeah.
But why aren't they calling themselves Asian?
Yeah, even the Asian ones, yeah.
How is it both if these are the races?
I think it should just go by continent.
It's like that
makes it easier. Just be like people of European descent, African descent, Asian descent. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like Joe Rogan says Russians are not normal white people. they're not
like 2 more fucking races, I think.
Russia's just huge. That's the problem with it. It's so huge that it has multiple territories of different, you know, genetic makeups and shit like that. So.
Yeah.
I mean, and even now too, they have some Arabic countries too. So you can actually say some Russians are Arabic. You know, some are Arabic, some are Asian, some are white. You know, it's just a huge mix. Well, not mix maybe, because they kind of each are separate in their own sections, but it's that Russian is a hard distinction to just say somebody is Russian, because there is so many different things there.
I mean, to be fair, you can say the same with Chinese as well.
Yeah, it's true. There's more.
China has quite a wide variety of different stuff. Really.
I mean, to China themselves, Tibetans are considered different people. Mongolians are considered different people to them, you know, so it's weird. But to us, you know, people outside of China will just be like, yeah, they're all Chinese, you know, but to them, they're like, no, they're part of our country, but they're different people.
Well, it's like when people, like in America, when you get these people who are like anti-white and they say white people, and it's like, well, what do you mean by white? Because if you go to the Nordic fucking countries, they're completely different than, you know, the British people, for example, or, you know.
Eastern Europeans, they're all white.
White in America means non-Hispanic, non-black, non-Arab, non-Asian Chinese. That's what fucking white means.
It just means of European descent, basically. Anybody who comes from European, who has a descent of any European.
And if you're from Spain, you might get excluded, even though
that's dumb. Yeah. Spaniards are white.
I know.
Yeah, they're off white.
Yeah.
They're still white enough to be called white. That's what I say. They do have other genetic markers in them because of the Moors, but they're still white. But
there's not a lot. Not every fucking, like, it's not.
I was going to say, in Europe...
It's not all. It's not a lot. I don't think it's like the majority.
There, though, Alf, to be honest.
I don't agree with you. What's the difference? Explain to me the difference between an Italian and a Spaniard.
No, I'm not trying to say that this is my opinion.
Oh, you're saying,
okay. I'm saying that in Europe, you probably will find that people will have a distinction, especially with Spaniards.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. When I went to Spain, it was very fucking different.
It's not a negative distinction.
No, it's not.
It's just
I'm not
a
saying
distinction.
it is. I'm just saying it's weird. It's a weird distinction to make.
Well, it's like we were talking about it the other day.
I feel like Italians are fucking darker than Spaniards.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, what's the difference between Italians?
The same distinction is true there as well.
Okay. Then it makes sense. Okay, I thought you were separating those. And Greeks.
No, not specifically Spanish, but like sort of that end of Europe.
Yeah.
Basically, they got raped by the blacks, didn't they? In the medieval times, they've got a lot of black in them.
Yeah,
I don't know. I got descendants from there, and my percentage of black is 0. And Arab is like less than a 0.7, I think.
Yeah, no, but it's just a fact that the.
Oh, I know, but what
percentage through Italy and Spain they did?
But what percentage of black blood is in these
quite
people?
A high percentage, that's why.
Is it the majority? I don't know.
That's the entire reason why Spaniards and Italians have darker skin.
Yeah, but I don't.
No, it is. That is. Look it up.
No, that's not what I'm saying, Chris. What I'm saying is I don't think it's the majority of Hispanic, Spanish or fucking Italians.
I wouldn't use you
as black blood.
The majority of Spaniards.
I'm not using me. That's
what I'm saying. I think you're wrong about that. I think I've been to Spain. I don't know if you have, but people are quite dark skinned there.
Yeah, they are very dark. Yeah, compared to Northern Europeans, for sure. I mean,
you do see very white people, sure, but you also see almost very towards black people too, and a lot of them.
Talking about this the other day because I found out I have Iberian genes, like a small percentage, and over there everyone had basically had hair like me, but it was way more thicker, way curlier and shit. There's just there's more of it in them, you know.
I'm trying to find what the genetic makeup of Spaniards are, but
the thing is, I mean, it's a weird. I think for me and Sean, probably this is a much less loaded conversation than maybe it is for Americans, because we're just saying what it is. It doesn't matter what it is because we don't care. Like the Spaniards are exactly the same as us. We don't care. Mm-hmm. We're just saying that they do tend to have this, a genetic makeup which is slightly different to ours, but we don't care.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's where I say the distinction is weird because it's a slight difference.
Yeah. Well, if you take Europeans as a whole and you say that's white, there's a lot of differences. Like I was saying with
that's
the
range
Nordic
you're going to get into, but the difference
4 and 20%. That's not
what's
that
20%?
high. Between 4 and 20% of the genomes from people in Italy and Spain and Greece.
Yeah, 4 and 20% is not much at all.
Have North African shit in it.
But it depends where you go. Like with Italy, that's why Sicily was looked down upon, because Sicily was the more mixed part of Italy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and Sicilians tend to be darker.
I would imagine certain regions of Spain are the same.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's certain regions, but if you take Spain and Portugal and Italy in a whole, you know what I'm saying, you're going to get more white than anything else. That's why I say
But see, that's the thing. They don't tell you what
is what you should be, right?
The thing is, in a way that's fairly obvious because obviously Spain's and Italy and all those countries have had more time to mix with the rest of Europe, haven't they?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, they don't tell you what percentage it's closer to. It's between 4 and 20. Are there more people with 4 or are there more people with 20?
What that is
you'll probably find is that it differs with the region.
Yeah,
because
that's what it is.
Exactly. Spain and Italy.
Some regions have 20% in their genetics. Some regions have as low as 4%. That's basically
because if you go to Barcelona, Barcelona is on the, isn't it? I think it's the, so that's closer to North Africa. So you're gonna have more people with a higher percentage. But if you go to the northwest of Spain, I'm sure there's a lot of people who just look like fucking regular white Europeans
or whatever.
The other thing that makes it hard to look this up is because they're going to count people from the country, and not all people from the country are Spaniard. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to get thrown in the mix, and that's going to be hard to figure out as well. Because Africans...
and another thing that factors in is that the borders of these countries have changed quite considerably.
Yeah, that too. Very true.
Well,
very true. Yeah, and that changes the numbers, so it makes it difficult. But my whole point was, I consider them white because they are largely white, right? It's not like the. I think any of their genetics is only going to have a small amount of black or any other kind of Arabic or something.
I do absolutely consider them European, whether I would consider them white or not.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if they're fucking white or not.
So to me, it's even if I was calling them fully black, that doesn't matter.
No, I know it doesn't matter, but I just think it's a weird.
They're still like us. They're still European.
No, we were trying to. But we started all this by talking about what the fuck is white, black, and Asian then? Because where do Arabs come in then? Where do Indians come in then? Because Indians are not black really, and they're not white. So what the fuck are they?
Indians are Asian.
Yeah, I know, but everyone looks at race, I think, because of this white and black as skin color.
No, yeah, it's not.
I really do. Most people think of race.
Yeah, I think most people do in America. I've never taken it like that. I've always taken it as heritage of continent.
But it's so weird. It's all it's too fucking mixed up. It's got to be cleared up, I think.
In the census here, they do make the distinction between Caucasian white and other kinds of white.
Yeah, they did. white,
maybe they don't do that.
White non-Hispanic and white Hispanic. They do that here.
Yeah, they do that here. Yeah.
But
They do
so
white
Caucasian
non-Hispanic.
is the way to make the distinction that you're trying to make without using a color, if that's a problem.
Yeah, I think what confuses it is race and ethnicity.
Well, then when you throw in that too,
people mix race and ethnicity. Because now, if you want to be in the U.S., right, in some cases you just want to count white people who are non-Hispanic, but to be honest, there's Hispanic people who are white. They are Caucasian, right?
They could be racist and hate blacks.
Yeah. And they might have only been living in Hispanic countries for 2-3 generations. They're still white, right? So it's hard to make those distinctions, but it's
like saying culture doesn't make you that race anymore.
But
it's a little weird. It's confusing. That's what it is, I think, more than anything.
And I think the point is right. I think the point Chris is saying is more important. Is I think the underlying thing of what Chris is saying is culture is more important, because then it's like, well, you can have a white guy who grew up in like Muslim Africa, he's going to be a totally different person, right? That's a totally different demographic.
All I'm hearing is that all of us on a spectrum are a little bit too wrapped up, and I'm not just talking about us. I think we're all at the good end of the spectrum, really. But we're all a little bit too wrapped up in what race means, because it doesn't actually fucking mean anything.
I just use it in the case of classifications. But
there is something to it.
That's the only way I'd use it too. But to an extent, it means more than that to all of us.
Yeah, I think culture is more important.
I would agree with that.
Culture is way more important. People don't make the distinctions in Hispanics either, and this is the part that I always bug out about between West Coast and East Coast, because East Coast has more South Americans, West Coast has more Central Americans, so we tend to have different kinds of Hispanics, and we all get lumped into one group, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying about when people say white people. It's like it's all lumped in. And
exactly. But the difference is culture. Mexican culture is totally different from Peruvian culture.
Racially as well. Like when people say like, "Oh, we need more racial diversity in Europe," it's like you've already fucking had it for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Like it was so fucking different. Like I was saying before, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just go to fucking like, you know, it's fucking completely different. And they all have the same skin tone, but they're completely different.
And now at the current age, we have a lot of migration and, you know, people moving around. That's changing numbers everywhere, and it's going to change numbers everywhere. Genetics and numbers are going to be changing. There's more mixing now than ever, right? I would think.
And all that said, you know, like, I really can't. I don't give a shit like what your skin color is. I mean, it's
of course not.
You know, it's so fucking. It's so. At this point, it really. It does really have like. Look, there are differences we need to, you know, accept and say, look, these are differences. You know, we can't just say we're all exactly the same on the inside. So there we go.
You know what's funny is when people talk about the past in the U.S. and they say like, oh, when Irish immigrants came and Italian immigrants came, they weren't even considered white.
You're breaking up, Al.
Oh shit! Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's something. No.
You're good now.
Okay. You know how people will say about America in the past and be like, oh, when Irish immigrants came and Italian immigrants came, they weren't even considered white. I'm like, that's bullshit. They were considered white. They were just considered lesser people culturally. They weren't considered a different race. They were a different nationality. They were considered different in a totally other way. I love when people try to bring that up. Oh, yeah, white people were the original black people. They weren't even considered white. Like, what? Irish people were considered white? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
People just looked down upon their culture. That's it.
Yeah. White is apparently a level.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's just
like, as much as race doesn't matter, I think it would be a shame if, like, say if we were seeing racial demographics change in Africa or Asia, and there was like, it was just like there was a bunch of white people there, and it was just changing.
If Africa became white, it would be fucking like, what?
But that would piss me off. Like, if I go traveling, I don't want to fucking, like, I never wanted, when I, like, if, you know, when we would travel, like, with my family and shit, I never wanted to go somewhere where, like, it was basically, like, Little Britain.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fucking, you know, thousands of miles away. I wanted to go and see fucking different people and different cultures. I don't want it to all be the fucking same everywhere. Like,
well, the point of traveling is to experience new things, right? If you end up going to a country that's just like your country, what's the point?
I want to travel. I don't want you to bring the other places to where I live. Like, I want to go see it and experience it for the real thing. I don't want to see. I don't want to go see a fucking Caribbean carnival in fucking grey Britain. I want to go see it, like, you know, in the fucking. I want to go to
America. Oh shit! I'm in Little Mogadishu. What the fuck's going on here? I'm in Minnesota.
I'm completely the opposite to that. I don't want to go and see any of it. Bring it all here, or don't bother.
Well, that's just not wanting to travel. That's a different story.
I just think it's kind of like, it's just. I just think it's a bit sad. Like, we want like to have all this fucking.
Well, no, I don't think they wanted like these idiots who all want this shit and talk about it all the time. I think they want the white countries to get diversified, but not
basically
the black or the fucking whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, they would fucking have a beef with that.
Yeah,
that's why they have a beef with South Africa.
Oh yeah, but it's like
there's one little part of the whole continent as white people, and it's a
and they all.
I mean, now back then, if you were living there, I can understand why you think it was a problem, because you're like living there, and all of a sudden these people come. But we're not living.
Yeah. But we can't. You can't change the past. Yeah, they're living there now. It's like.
The thing is, that's what people want to do, isn't it? They want to change the past.
Yeah.
Like you can't. To think that doing something now will somehow change things that have already happened, and that's just fucking childish.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. You can't do it. They're basically asking, and you know.
Yeah, you can't change
it's unable.
Too bad.
It's literally asking us to do what we literally fucking physically can't.
Who have nothing to do with what you're actually complaining about to fix it somehow.
And those people are trying to move forward with the conversation, and they're still stuck in the past with stuff that nobody has anything to do with that's alive today. Like get over it. Let's move on.
No, reparations plus more rights that they already have.
Yeah, it's so retarded.
Asking like people
killing black kids in the street.
Yeah.
All that shit. You gotta do all that shit. Get rid of prisons. You know, don't worry, black people will police black people. It's all gonna happen. Sure.
Yeah, that's gonna work out right. I'm sure.
Well, you know, it'll be a little community
At
thing.
some point, I feel like, let's let them do that and be like, all right, everybody.
I said, dude, let that shit do that shit.
Yeah, we're gonna pick one corner of the U.S. for you guys. You guys all go live there, police yourselves, and see what happens.
Where the rule.
No, just take one.
Or people who want to go there, not all black people.
Take one little black neighborhood right now and be like, all right, police yourselves. See what happens.
Yeah,
well, isn't that already
Chicago?
Isn't that already kind of like de facto happening in the states in some states?
Why? How? So
I wouldn't say in some states. Maybe in really small pocket cities or something.
Little pockets. Sorry, wrong way. It's like little certain neighborhoods and stuff like that.
Yeah, he means like areas that get so ghetto and violent that the police just don't even bother going in there anymore.
Well,
because it's too crazy. That's happened before. Yeah, there are.
But that's like no police. That's not like that's no police. That's not like them policing themselves.
But that's what's going to happen if they police themselves. It's going to be the gang members that are going to be the police.
Exactly.
Like who polices when there's no police? The fucking gangsters. Like,
dude, I know people like that. I know people in the ghetto who say that gangsters police the streets better than police do, and they're like, oh, that's the way it should be, you know. And it's like, if people disrespect you, you should be able to kill them.
They do it much better. I'm sure all the old people there are loving living there,
and they believe in like the gangster code, and that's like what the real laws should be and stuff like
that. They basically want like some neighborhoods in America and also in Europe as well. Like, you see this idea, they basically want to turn it into like fucking Brazilian favelas.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want happening. Yeah, that's exactly what.
So wait, gangs really just hate cops because they want to be them?
Well, just
they
because
want the power. Yeah.
No, it's not even the power. They just want to do what they want to do, and they want to live the way they want to live without having to deal with other people's rules. Basically,
they want control. They want to be able to live the life they're living now without any consequence.
This is why people in the ghetto hate cops, because they're stopping them from doing the things they want to do. When they're like, look, I saw a car over there. Some guy was driving a car. You stopped at a red light. I wanted that car. So I ran up, I punched the dude in the mouth, and I pulled him out the car and took his car. And then these fucking asshole cops got to come and stop me from doing that. You know what I'm saying? That's their mentality. The cops are the enemies because they're stopping you from doing what you want to do. It's a selfish mentality. Where
they will deny that to the hills, bro.
And they just want to be selfish and be like, no, this is the way I want to live. The cops are assholes because they're stopping me from living the way I want to live. Even though the way they want to live is imposing in everybody else's way of life, you know?
Yeah.
But that's the problem. That's what becomes the ghetto problem, and that's why.
Well, that's what's weird. They're in a society that's good, and they're like, no, we want this shittier way of. It's more dangerous and scary because I could have some money.
But that's why ghettos become like that and get so difficult to help uplift them because they all have that mentality. You'll have people who...
We know it's white people.
Yeah, but they all have that mentality. They'll have people that have nothing to do with what just happened. Be like, oh yeah, that guy over there punched that guy in the face and took his car. And the cops will come and be like, oh, what happened? Oh, nothing. I didn't see anything. You know why? Because cops are the enemies. They're going to come after me next after what I'm doing, you know?
No snitching, bro.
Yeah, no snitching is another culture, too. That if you snitch, you get killed. So.
That's the worst shit, bro. Snitch.
So, yeah, that's part of it, too. Snitching, you learn that all your life. So.
That is so
in Liverpool, you get called a grass instead of a snitch. And, like, if you go around, like, you know, you'll be walking around like a fucking certain neighborhood or whatever, and it'll just say, like, you know, Alf, for example, your name, like Alf Benny is a grass, like spray painted on the wall for like everyone to know.
Oh, here you
that's that Stephen A. Smith shit, bro. That's that. Oh, why you calling me out? We're supposed to be brothers, bro.
But not if you
like why are you telling me I did something wrong? Why did you tell someone else I did something wrong? You know. Like, let me do anything I want, bro.
And that's the way it is. A lot of people like the gang laws. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go to, like, there's a lot of people who romanticize, like, Italian mobsters and shit like that. And they like that type of the rules for it and this and that. And be like, well, you know, they kill people, but I mean, they kill people for snitching and shit like that. You know, that's cool. And it's like, what?
They kill people for...
They kill people for anything. Like
for not snitching. Like, you know, it's like, wait, he may snitch. I don't know. Yeah, let's kill him.
Look at the Lufthansa case where they just started killing everybody because they were afraid everybody would start snitching and they got paranoid.
It's all preemptive. Like it's not no. There's no rule of fucking law or due process or anything. It's just fucking.
It doesn't work.
Let's get him.
It doesn't work.
And it's majority as well. It's like it's young men. It's young men.
And
like it's that mentality.
People killed for power moves and shit like that. Like, oh, this guy's above me a little bit. I'm gonna kill him so I can move up. And it's not a good way of living, dude. It's a fucked up fucking thing. But there's people who romanticize it. I know people who romanticize it. And they love. The mob, the gangster, like not just, you know, the Italian mob shit. They love the fucking street ghetto gangster shit. And it's like, oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
I remember one day I was waiting for work when I was in my 20s and these two teenagers walked by and they were having a conversation. And I hear the one kid go, yo, you ever seen Scarface? And the other kid's like, yeah. He's like, that's my shit, yo. That's what I want to be when I grow up. And I'm thinking, like, what?
Yeah.
This kid is actually aspiring to grow up and be Scarface. Like, that.
Did you get killed by a drug lord.
I felt like turning around and telling the kid, like, yeah, did you watch the end of that movie? Like, he gets killed, you know? He dies. He died. Not only does he die, he kills his best friend. His sister gets killed. Like the whole fucked up shit happens to his entire family. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
He wreaked havoc.
Bro, I'm gonna be so sad, bro.
Yeah. That dude wreaked havoc on anybody who he ever met. Like, what's wrong with you?
Well,
I ain't gonna be Tony, man.
It's like every drug dealer, like if I went around to their house or whatever, they'd always have a picture of Scarface on the wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they all aspire
to romanticize that stuff. I know people who have like pictures of like Goodfellas and shit on their wall too. So it's like,
well, I have that shit. I don't have it now, but I had shit like that when I was younger.
Yeah,
it was movies.
Yeah. But that's because
I want to be the people.
Exactly. But I know people who are like love Joe Pesci's character and they like wanted to be like that.
Yeah,
they like that.
It's the whole young man thing, because when I was young, I was like fuck the police. Like I didn't want anything fucking to do with them. I thought they were just out to fucking get me, you know. And then you get older and you realize, you know, so like when you have whole neighborhoods ran by fucking young men with that mentality, it's like I can understand it on some level, but at the same time, it's like that's why you need proper male figures. You need authority figures to step in and say, no, look, you're at a stage in your life where you are against like all authority, no bars, you know. Look, I don't like certain authorities to this day.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but young
and I don't trust them.
Young people are dumb. We can't have people in charge. Young people
are yeah. I mean,
young people are brash.
I'm 25. Like,
it's just that young people are brash. They don't have very good foresight. You know, they mostly have they can have good ideas, but they don't think their ideas too far enough ahead and think too
far ahead. Yeah.
So you don't think of the consequences. Like, that's what I always think about young people. Young people make mistakes. They do stupid shit because they're capricious, right? They don't think ahead. They just act in the moment.
When you were saying about how people romanticize like drug dealers or, you know, gangsters in general, I think it's a modern form of like how, you know, thousands of years ago, even like 200 years ago, 100 years ago, like people would romanticize like soldiers.
Yeah.
It's like a modern form of that. Like, you know, live fast, die young. Like that. I mean, you know, if you were to become a soldier, like that's what it was.
I feel like what happened with the U.S. is we've always had this culture, and I think it's very American. People don't realize, but we went from cowboys to gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's basically the same thing. People used to romanticize and, you know, fantasize about being the outlaw. You know, outlaw Josie Wales, or, you know, being this cowboy that, you know, was living, you know, outside of the law and shit. We've always had that culture, right? We had moonshine runners in the 20s and shit like that, you know, like the Bonnie and Clyde was a huge thing. Jesse James. It's like we've always had this kind of culture of being outlaws. I think that's kind of it's always been here, yeah. It's a very American thing. It's a very attractive thing is when you're a young man, especially, like to have that, you know, a life without consequence until there's the big consequence, you know, either death or jail. And it's like, that's okay, because then your life's over. Then if you're dead, your life's over. Like, as you had fun, you know what I mean? And if you're not looking far into the future, why would you give a shit, you know? Yeah, that's basically what it is. I mean, I remember being young and being like, I don't want to live past 40, dog. Well, 40's old. I'm like, I'm just about to be 40 and I don't feel like it. And it's like, oh yeah, it doesn't feel like I'm that old. Like, fuck. But when I was like 14, I was thinking like 40's old. I think I got the opposite. I turned like 20 and I was like, oh, I feel like a fucking old man. I think I was like 13 or something. Darren said, still short. And this guy towered over me and was probably closer to 17, 18. Oh, I don't know that. I must have missed. You're breaking off a bit there, Alfie. Oh, it's alright. He was telling this whole story, and I was reading the end of it, so I was totally out of context anyway. Oh, okay. No, I was just thinking about growing up, and I lived in a rough part, and then the conversation you were talking about how we want to go to like a lawless society, you know, or like a society like when we were kids growing up. It was a lot like that. It was people afraid of the police, and definitely the gang culture was really big back then. Like a lot of my friends were dealing drugs or slinging. Yeah. And it brought a lot of undesirables into the community. And that was just one incident that I could recall that actually happened. Oh yeah, I think speak to a majority of people, they grew up around that shit. The majority of people grow up in some kind of situation like that, you know. It's very small minority of people who grow up in, like, you know, gated communities where they're away from that shit. Yeah, they don't realize how it and that's good, because, you know, like, they can learn about that when they're older, and, you know, through, you know, journalism or whatever it may be, and, you know, they made it through, you know, without being touched by that. So it's good, but I think if you go through it, make it through it as somebody in that situation, like, you learn that shit very early on. So if you can get past that mindset, it's which I think, you know, there's probably something to that where people who have been so sheltered and haven't experienced what it's really like when you do live in like an environment like that, then the naivety just kind of comes out when people start saying they don't want to have like law enforcement in their community, or they don't want to have exactly. It just shows like they should go to places in the world where literally no one gives a shit if you live or die, and no one cares if you like end up dead in the river somewhere. Well, they've clearly never been in a situation where
their last line of defense they needed. They've never been in a situation where they've been like, oh shit, we need to fucking call the police. Like, they've never, you know, and you know, I've been in a handful of situations where it was like, shit, like there is literally nothing to help me here but the police, and like even the police, it's like while to get here. You know what I mean? And if you haven't been through that, of course, you're not going to see the importance of the police. Like,
yeah, I could see that. Well, I mean, all these people who talk against the police are either people who want to get away with shit or people who have no idea what it's like to live in these areas. Like, I've been in the ghetto. I've seen the fucked up shit police got to go through, you know, like, and the mentality of people towards police, and, you know, the way it's dealt with there. It's insane. It can get real crazy.
And then, of course, sorry.
I was just gonna say. I mean, like, I grew up I didn't grow up in like a crazy, like, tough area. But, like, you know, there was things like I told you, didn't I, about I had two friends who were kidnapped.
Yeah, I think I remember telling about that. That's crazy.
And I didn't even live in a fucking crazy area, and like they were fucking like, you know, I don't want to go into fucking details, but it was a lot of the shit they went through that fucking night was fucking terrible. Yeah. And the only people who could help them were the police.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like,
oh, trust me, man. I've had these conversations with my friends, man, where they're like, well, with one of my friends is like, that people should police themselves and shit. And I'm like, how does that work? Who's going to protect the old lady down the street? Like, if nobody wants to protect her. What about the people who can't protect themselves? So you're going to leave them to fucking just die? It's stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, because they're just replacing one institution with another.
Yeah, basically.
They would rather not trust the government, which...
Yeah. They want to go back to cowboy days, basically. I think I have to restart my Discord. Give me a second. Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, there we go. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you're breaking up that much. Yeah, it was cutting out quite a bit.
Yeah,
I thought it was my fucking internet again.
No, I think it was me. So I was like, I gotta restart my shit.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta.
Yeah, it seems like people just want to go back to cowboy days or something and live like that, right? And it's like, cowboy days sucked. Like, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to worry about fucking going to the store and getting shot for no reason because two people are having a fucking duel outside or something.
That is the reality, though. It's like, there's the communities that say they don't want to be policed the most are the ones that need it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's basically the Wild West for them anyway. Like, their mentality is they have no fear, so they might as well not even have police.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's like they aren't attracting people to actually want to be in the community, but they're stuck there. Probably usually because it's like they've like driven down the property value of everything because it's so crime ridden.
Well, yeah, they've got nothing else to lose, have they? Like,
yeah, so you put yourself in like.
Well, they think that, you know what I mean? They might actually have a lot to lose, but they think they don't, you know, because they see people with a lot more. They don't realize how much they actually do have, you know?
I had an argument with somebody once about how people think that they live, like, really, really poor. And, well, if you compare yourself to somebody who has, like, a Mercedes, then, yeah, you will always be poor. But you live in, like, one of the best places in the world right now that people are, like, dying to come live, but for some reason we always come up with excuses as to like why it's not good enough. Like I think the basics, like clean water, like shelter over your head, and like, you know, having access to clean food that you can actually eat and you're not going to get sick. All those kinds of things are like we take for granted like all the time, and because the standard of living is so different. I basically tried to explain to the guy, like, just because you're not doing as well as other people doesn't mean you don't have it good.
Oh, yeah.
It's all perspective. Like,
oh, yeah, completely agree. I mean, and that doesn't mean we shouldn't try, you know, the standard of living for you know, a low standard of living in the West is good comparatively to the to worldwide, but it doesn't mean like we shouldn't try and improve it in any way we can.
Yeah, we should always look for improvement. We should always look to
well, I'd say just wait, because we're living in a world where technology advances so quick that things that are typically too expensive, they just become more and more affordable as it just progresses. Like you have like a supercomputer in your pocket, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but that's kind of a problem too, because culture doesn't advance, but technology does, as they go at a way faster rate than the culture is, or that like society's advancing. So it's going to become a problem. Like even now, it's causing a huge problem, right? We're all way too connected than we should be, like to the world. I mean, it's a great thing for the world to be connected, but it's happening so fast that we're not adjusting to it fast enough, So now we're having all these clashes of people and ideas and minds, and people are overreacting about it and stuff because people aren't used to this.
Yeah.
People aren't adjusted to this, so much. To hear so many opinions at once from so many different places, from so many different people. Overstimulus, I guess.
My main issue with this whole idea of like global governance, I don't think we're ready for it yet, far enough down the line. I just don't think it's
we could change or advance in or whatever.
People push it, like it's like people are pushing it just way too early, and it's like even fucking decide on some of the most trivial fucking things,
Yeah, people are. How long did it take people to legalize gay marriage in the U.S.? Like, holy shit! Like, I was like, really? Does that even fucking matter? Like, just let them get married. Who gives a shit? Like, how does that fucking affect anybody?
Yeah, well, it's like the U.S. for example. It's like we have one country in the world where free speech is fucking protected with a godless constitution.
Yeah,
and like the rest of the world hasn't even fucking got close to that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we want to try unify the world before we haven't even got on the same page yet. It's like, for fuck's sake. I think that's a symptom of today. Like you can sit at home and order food and whatever you fucking want off the internet, like next day delivery from fucking Amazon.
Yeah.
It's like we get everything so quick. It's like, oh well, why can't we have fucking world peace and solve world hunger like straight away? just because you can buy your fucking yoga mat on Amazon and get it fucking delivered to you tomorrow, it doesn't mean we're gonna get fucking world peace tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, world peace is something. We could probably stop world hunger. That might be a good first step. Like, we could probably. That's feasible. Yeah. World peace is not feasible because everybody has to be on the same page for that. I mean, feeding countries. I guess feeding countries is hard too, because everybody's got to be on the same page of that. We could send a bunch
that are underlying, right?
We could send a bunch of food to Africa, but there's no way to say that the African government isn't going to take that food and not spread it around, and just keep it for themselves.
Yeah.
Which is what's happened. That's happened before. People have sent food. Like, organizations have sent food to certain countries in Africa, and the government of that country has seized that food and kept it. It's happening.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Yeah. And if you look at the African population, when it started getting a lot of aid from the West, and the population fucking exploded, and you still have people. You basically, I think I haven't looked at the numbers in a while, but if you look at the numbers of people the numbers of people in Africa who are at threat from famine and basically starving to death, the number is still roughly the same as it was when before we started giving aid. It's just that there's more people in Africa now. Wow. So there's more people, but the number of people who will still die from famine is still pretty much the same as if we'd left. So all we've done is just create a fucking a continent full of more people that if everything goes to shit, even more people will then die.
It's happening now. There's an area in Africa, I was just watching this on the news, but it was like, I forget what country it is, but it's this one region of a country that for the first time, there's the first civilization it's happening to in history that all the water is disappearing, and they're soon they're heading towards a crisis like within the next year, where they're going to have no water and they don't know what they're going to do. Like some people have left, but some people can't leave. I forgot, man. I was just watching something on this like 3 days ago on YouTube. Let me see if I find it. Africa.
It's crazy as well because, like, if there is a fucking catastrophic event where fucking hundreds of millions of people have to leave that continent, where are they gonna go? You know what I mean? All you're doing, what's happened is they've created a fucking mess, and they've shit on the nice white carpet.
Oh, when I say white, it's Cape Town.
Cape Town's pretty fucked.
Yeah, Cape Town is running out of water. They're going and trying to buy as much water as they can because everything's running out. And they had to turn off the water because people were just using it like crazy when they were running low, and people were overusing it. So now they had to turn off the water and only turn it on for certain amounts of time. But that's running out too. So I mean, eventually Cape Town is going to have zero water, and that's like soon, like in our lifetimes, that's going to happen.
Fucking ridiculous.
And it's a place that used to have water. They used to have rivers and shit. The rivers have all dried up. Everything's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it could like I don't know what it's down to because I don't know anything about this, but I mean that could be from, population explosion.
Yeah, it could be population. It could be from industry just taking up all that water too.
Yeah.
That happens as well. Or it could just be from people fucking with their water and fucking, like people in India taking a shit in their water. Now they don't have any potable water anywhere. All their water's dirty as shit.
Well, they have problems with that in California because of the massive homelessness problem.
Yeah.
The water system always gets contaminated.
I mean, there's a lot of there's parts of California that's just desert too, so they don't even have much water in the first place, and then they got to deal with shit, and shit getting contaminated as well, shit getting really dry, and they got to import their water from like Colorado and shit.
Yeah, and that's like a fucking first world nation.
Yeah,
with with its most fucking wealthy state, from what I know, and that's them trying to fucking deal with it. How the fuck is a third world nation gonna deal with shit like that? Like,
desalinization. That's the future.
Yeah. We're gonna need to learn how to desalt on. It's called desalinization, right? But they need to desalt water basically. So we can
they're getting good at it, and it's getting cheaper, the technology. Yeah. I don't think it's that bleak. I think Californians just need to learn how not to make almonds, and then they might be better off.
I think California is just gonna have to fucking figure out shit for now. Get some water in there. I don't know. They're gonna have to just spend that money to get enough water in there. Right
now, they're buying a lot of water from Canada, and we're selling it. I know quite a bit about that, and I think we're selling it at a bargain at the moment.
Yeah.
But we're going to be running out of water if we end up having to feed all these different states or whatever that just can't.
At least you guys have a shit ton of ice.
That is true. Maybe if global warming kicks off, everyone will just move to Canada once everything, and then the United States will just be the new Mexico. No one wants to live there because it's too fucking hot.
Yeah. They're saying Sao Paulo, this is happening too as well in Brazil. They said at one point they were down to less than 20 days of water supply. We're like, fuck.
My God. And
you got Mexico City and Jakarta infrastructure is often inadequate. Water management is unsanitary. Leaky, polluted by heavy metals, or not sufficient to deliver enough supply to support demand.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a
What's
lot of
going on with Detroit? Have they got their water fixed yet?
I don't even know. I don't know. That wasn't Detroit. That was Flint, no? Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, that seems like an unfixable problem.
Yeah, I don't know how they would fix that. Oh, I guess they just had to start bringing water in from neighboring towns as opposed to it using whatever reservoir it was using. Because they can't use their own water, right? Their own water is polluted, basically, now.
Lance said that apparently they've had a lot of rain, so apparently it's okay now.
Oh, Cape Town? Yeah.
Cape Town, I think that's what he's referring to. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think it seems to be a common trend, and every time they get to a drought, it's worse than the last time.
Yeah,
so I think they're saying within our lifetime, it's going to get to the point where people are going to start dying off there because when
if you look at the long-term trends, it's But you know, I mean,
it's going worse every time. Like I was saying with Sao Paulo, their water's back, but I'm saying they reached a point where they were at 20 days of water supply left. So if that happens again and it's worse, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna face a crisis before the next water comes. You know.
Oh yeah. The string keeps getting thinner every year. It's not a. That's why I'm pretty happy we live in a fucking rainy country.
Oh, supposedly this is what happens. That the drought they had projected was going to end in mid-April, but it ended in mid-July. That's like 2 months longer than it was supposed to last. That's what I'm saying. It's getting worse and worse. Like the next time it comes in, to be an extra couple weeks longer, you know, and then longer than that.
Yeah.
And then they're probably not
fucking
managing
crazy.
the water well either, you know. So mismanagement, you know, like not keeping it clean, overusing it when they do have it, and it's like, yeah, then you're running out sooner and taking longer to get it back. It's crazy.
I mean, it's all fucking finite, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
I mean,
I think as human beings, we're children. How we were talking about like young people don't think ahead. I think as human beings, we're those people. We're still young, right? Like as a species.
Oh yeah.
And we don't think ahead enough. I mean, some do, but as a whole, we don't think ahead enough.
Yeah, doesn't Homo sapien mean wise man or something like that? Wise something.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna Google it and probably
means human, basically, right?
Yeah, Latin phrase meaning wise man.
Oh, wise man.
Yeah, wise man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Homo is man.
Yeah.
Sapien. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Fucking wise.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Well, not that wise.
Sapiente,
Whatever the
sapiente means knowledge in Latin, so that makes sense. Yeah.
The Latin is for stupid man or short-sighted. We should change the name of our species.
But yeah, well, I think as a species we're still very young, so yeah, we're not looking ahead enough yet. I think at some point we gotta advance a little more.
Oh yeah. Compared to the Earth, we're a fucking flea on its back, like.
I think people get stuck with the idea that this is the way we're gonna be, but I mean, like, I think we're different than we were like 200 years ago. Like, so imagine in another 200 years, it's gonna be nuts. We're advancing even faster now technologically. That's gonna affect us, like, as human beings, like in general.
Oh yeah.
Where are we gonna be 200 years from now? Like the year 2219.
Our evolution is so like. Like you said, we can't even keep up with technology.
No, we can't.
Pretty much everyone's going to be augmented with like.
Yeah, it's going to get to the
machines.
point where we were affecting technology. It's going to get to the point where technology is going to affect us, and we're going to be changing because of technology changing us. You know.
Well, I think it already.
Yeah, it's already
pretty much is
affecting. It's got to be
us.
starting. Yeah, it's got to be starting. It's got to be changing our brain patterns and. You know, genetically, we're gonna start getting accustomed to certain things. I think we're gonna end up having bigger brains because we're just gonna have to deal with taking so much information in, right? like we're definitely taking in way more information than any of our ancestors ever did. You know, way more stimulus than our ancestors ever did. We have to cope with those things. So.
If we make it that far,
yeah, if we make it that far.
Like, I'd be curious to see what IQ scores are like for children who are like 12 compared to like children who are 12, like say 20 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Before the internet.
Yeah, of course. And then 20 years from now, it's going to be different, right? Like the kids 20 years from now are going to be different than the kids now. You know?
Like back then, I think the most stimulation you could get was like, you know, being in an uber violent situation or like possibly, you know, watching a lot of television.
Yeah.
And then when the internet came out, it's like all of a sudden you're bombarded with so much information.
Yeah. I don't think we'll change that much biologically because of the. I think
it takes too long.
You know,
but we will eventually. It just takes a really long time.
Yeah, but what I think we'll change socially so much that the evolution, the burden on our evolution won't be as strong enough to change us physically. Like I think what we're seeing now with, you know, the way everything's so fractured and everybody's kind of creating their own fucking tribes. I think what's happening is because when we were, you know, hunter gatherers, or even like 500 years ago, we would have our, you know, our brains were equipped to deal with smaller groups of people, and because we now have these huge networks where we know vast amount of people, the fact that we're creating all these tribes on the internet and globally, I think that's us trying to it's us trying to create a smaller community for our brains to deal with.
Yeah.
So that, I think that's how it'll change. I don't think, you know, I don't think we'll change that much biologically. I just think that our social apparatus is just gonna equip us instead of.
I don't know if we'll change much. Oh shit! I switched my scene. I don't know if we'll change much outside biologically, but I think inside, like, little changes are going to be happening. Like I think our brains are going to have to start being able to handle more information. I think that's been happening from the beginning of humanity. I think our brains have been getting more compressed and more complex and being able to deal with more at a time through generations, right? Because that's how we learn. Every generation has to learn more than the generation before it, because you're learning. You're learning what you're being taught, and then learning what's happening through your experiences. So you have to learn more and more every time, and then you pass that on, you know.
To know of,
but now we're receiving information at incredible speeds, like out of nowhere, right? If you just think of like 40 years ago to now, it's like a huge leap of how much information we're taking in each generation. So it's like our brains is going to have to. There's the thing, a lot of people think, there's scientists who will say this too, that and it makes sense, that we've eliminated the pressures that help us evolve. We're also like, people who wouldn't be able to survive situations are now being able to survive those situations. So those people, it's not survival of the fittest so much anymore, right? Before it was like, our species will change by those who will be able to survive long enough to breed, and be able to breed. But it's not that anymore, because now people who would not be able to breed, live long enough to breed, 50 years ago, are now being able to live like that. So I think but that we didn't eliminate pressures though, because what we've done is we've eliminated natural pressures, but now we've created pressures, right? Technology is our new pressures that we're putting on ourselves. And there's a lot of new pressures that we're doing a lot now. We're constantly around microwaves now, right? Like there's the radiation that we're dealing with that we didn't deal with before, and stuff like that. And those things are going to add pressures that will change us over generations.
Well, even, I mean, instead of it being, who can, hunt the most game, and defeat, like, help defeat the other tribe that's trying to fucking steal our water or whatever it may be. Now it's like, who can climb the corporate ladder the fastest.
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's just we're all going to be evolving together. It's not about who can do what more. It's just because these pressures are here through generations, the human being and DNA wise is going to become stronger, where it's like as humans we're going to be able to process more information quicker, because we are constantly bombarded with information. Like our kids will be able to what? Are you listening? Hello?
I just agree.
I thought you were saying Alf, and I thought you were trying to tell me like you couldn't hear what I was saying or something. But our kids will be able to process information faster than us. Their kids will be processing it faster than them, and it's just going to be an ongoing thing till 7 generations from now. They're going to be processing information so fast, like their brains are going to probably become more complex and have to adjust to that.
Well, it's possible that maybe if they start introducing ways for people to actually manage their time a little bit better, it might be. Because right now, I'd say the vast majority of jobs that are like office related or administrative related, it's like people who are tied up to their computer answering emails all day. Yeah. And I believe at some point, those stresses are going to be automated as well. So a lot of the mundane tasks that we have as of now that we've created because of the technology, I'm hoping that goes away, because that would actually be
that would be cool.
A huge improvement.
But I was having this conversation with Tice, because Tice goes to school for the biology and shit, if he understood this stuff. But I always thought that we're adding pressures that we might not even think about, say how people brush their teeth all the time now, and it's like, does brushing your teeth now all the time will that make our teeth weaker 2,000 years from now because it's used to being brushed. So now if you get into a situation where you can't brush your teeth, no. Now it's like humans have to brush their teeth or they're going to lose it by this time, you know? Like it rots quicker because you've adapted to always have your teeth brushed, you know what I'm saying? Did they last longer before? You know, like how does it work? I don't know. Right now we're at a good point where if you take care of them, they'll stay strong. But you know, over time, you're gonna have to do that, or you'll lose your teeth really quick. You know. Like,
but wouldn't that just be because you lose your teeth because of you know, like bacteria build up. So wouldn't that be that would be more on like on a molecular level rather than if that's the right word, rather than like a physical cleaning.
Well, it's like the sugars that you consume, right? Not the sugars that actually rot your teeth. It's the bacteria that eats it, and then what's left after that is the stuff that actually becomes acidic and starts rotting your teeth.
Let's put it this way: of like finding a balance. Like maybe there's people who like overbrush their teeth, and then their teeth never has to dealing with bacteria and stuff like that. But there's always a chance that having a balance for that will create. Your body will have to adapt and create a way to last longer with these bacteria there. You know what I'm saying? If we go into a post-apocalyptic scenario now in like 2,000 years from now and people have been over-brushing their teeth, does that mean everybody's going to lose their teeth?
Well, it's like flu shots, like right? Quick. They always have to like stay ahead of the flu shot. Yeah. And there's the theory that it just becomes so potent. Like you think you're immune from the flu, but then the flu just comes out with like an uber strain to overpower it.
Yeah, it's also the thing. I could do that with anything. Like if you go with the like shampooing your hair too, you know, a lot of people say that people wash their hair. You're not supposed to wash your hair every day, and that's another thing that it's like a balance. What is like? Is it like maybe 4,000 years from now we over shampooed our hair, and now you have to, or you're gonna lose your hair by like 12 years old or something, you know? If you don't shampoo, or you're just gonna have shitty, fucked up hair all the time because you never washed it, or because it needs to be washed constantly, you know.
It's like the whole antibiotics thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's happening too. Those are micro levels, so those happen quicker. Like the antibiotic shit, like that's happening really fast because that's at the microbial level, microscopic level. I mean, and microscopic level things evolve and change way quicker. So, like for us as a whole being, it takes thousands of years, but for minuscule changes, right? Because it's happening at the microscopic level, and all those little microscopic levels have to change. So many of them have to change to create a tiny change in us. It's weird.
Imagine if we found out that like the atom was evolving.
That'd be nuts. I mean, there's nothing to say it doesn't. Who knows? Who knows?
Easy, wouldn't it?
It's an organic thing, right? I guess. Or is it just?
Look, I'm having like fucking stoner thoughts, and I haven't smoked weed in like 4 years.
Yeah, that's funny. Are atoms considered like living things, or are they like energy? What do you consider? What are atoms considered?
I think they're inert.
They're inert? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not living, right? They're building blocks to living things, but not actual living things, right?
Yeah.
I think that's how it goes.
I don't know.
I think the smallest thing we call living things are like single cell organisms, right? Like bacteria and shit like that. It's weird because I used to think the atom was the smallest thing, and then we found the even smaller things that make up atoms. So that makes it even crazier, like quarks and shit like that. It's like broken into four different little things. I know quarks is one of them, and there's like 3 other things like that.
Yeah, well, inside the atom there's the electron and the proton.
No, that's not inside. Those circle. Well, yeah. Well, I guess those are the protons and neutrons constitute what the atom is. The electrons orbit the neutrons and protons.
Yeah. But they'd be considered smaller, wouldn't they, than what makes up the atom itself? Because they are.
Yeah.
It's like.
But that's what it is. Within protons and neutrons now are smaller things, even like quarks and stuff like that make up those things. But and then how you get the weight of an atom is how many protons and neutrons are in it. But neutrons have no energy when protons have positive energy. But neutrons have 0 energy.
Yeah.
So it doesn't change the atom. Doesn't change the element to add more neutrons, only if you add more protons. But if you add more neutrons, it changes the weight of it, right? So like hydrogen is 1 proton, but if you add like 3 neutrons to it, it just becomes a heavier hydrogen. Yeah. But if you add another proton, it becomes the next you know, the next element, whatever's after.
Yeah.
Whatever 2
Oh,
protons make.
Flashbacks from my GCSE physics lessons.
Yeah, I haven't done that in a long time, but it is interesting. It's very interesting to go into like how things work at that smaller level. It's fucking nuts.
It's funny because it feels like you take a conversation and then it just boils down to atoms like every time.
every time, and how atoms all work together.
Well, why is that?
To make yeah, it's all builds up too, because it's like all atoms, how they work together, and how those atoms work together to build elements, and then how those elements work together to build this. You know what I'm saying? And then you put all that stuff together in a certain format, and you got wood or water. It's fucking crazy.
Oh yeah. I used to watch I used to just go on the internet and just search for fucking science documentaries and shit, and just sit there fucking stoned and give it and just have my mind blown at the same time.
Yeah.
I was basically just Joe Rogan with hair, pretty much.
Joe Rogan with hair. Yeah, if you think about it, us as humanity as a whole is basically a computer, a processor for a computer. And we're all just trying to figure out the answer by arguing with each other and communicating. And all this. You should just have Earth with a big sign over it that says processing, 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 like over and over again.
Just a massive fucking loading symbol.
Yeah. Like we're like the processor of a super macroverse computer still, you know, trying to figure out.
Well, wouldn't that be something? Is if we are actually living in a simulation, wouldn't the simulation or the person who's in control of the simulation, wouldn't that be considered like the manifestation of God?
It could be. I guess it would depend on your definition of God. It would
like
still be a
that is the
being
thing.
Regardless.
Yeah, that's the thing that people actually try to allude to, is like the spiritual portion of, which alludes to something greater than us. Which, I mean, I think it's kind of fascinating, but
yeah,
I don't know about a simulation. If he's a god.
No, go ahead.
Well, simulation.
Yeah, about
I was going to say if he's
sorry. go.
I was just going to say if he's a god, why does he need us to figure it out? You know?
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. Maybe it's like when you play The Sims. Do the Sims know that you're controlling them?
Yeah,
it's kind of, it's like one of those things, right? Like, maybe it's for shits and giggles. I mean, you can theorize a lot of shit, obviously.
I don't know about the whole simulation thing, but the way I kind of see it is kind of like, it's weird to, like, when you look at shit like atoms and, you know, microverses, I kind of feel like, why would it stop at where we're at now? Like, atoms can't see us. They don't know what we look like, right? So how would we know if there isn't a macroverse and our planets are the atoms of something bigger, you know? We wouldn't be able to see that bigger thing and understand what it is.
Isn't it like in MIB where they're like literally in a marble?
Oh yeah, there was like a universe in a marble, but that marble's just a marble. I think that it doesn't constitute the world that they're living in. They're actually holding a totally different universe separate. I think we're inside of a bigger universe, and then there's a bigger universe inside of that one, you know, and things get infinitely small and infinitely large, and we're just living on one, you know, size of it, basically. Like in that, you like, say we were living on an organ, right, and we're building plaque on an organ, and that's what our cities are and shit like that. Would we know that we're inside of a body? Like, we wouldn't know that, right?
Yeah,
we would never know that. How would you ever find that out? We're so tiny that we would never know. We can't even see beyond, you know, certain distances, so we don't know. Like, as far as we can see is like from a liver to a kidney or something. You know what I'm saying? You would never know that we were inside a body. You just think like, oh, here's one planet, there's another planet. You know?
Yeah, you wouldn't know, but I guess that's the whole thing. It's like you can't get a definite answer on it, but at the same time, it's like if you have this ever expanding, you know, repeat, just go out the window.
Well, a never expanding universe. I mean, things grow. Whatever this big thing we're in is growing, right?
To a point where it dies.
Like to it. Maybe, like humans do, right? We grow to a certain point, we kind of stop growing, and then we age and die. I mean, we don't know if it's going to stop expanding at some point. It could.
Well, no, we know that it's slowing down.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe the thing that's growing, whatever we're in, is slowing down now.
like a rubber band that's going to retract one day.
It could be, or it could just hit puberty and it's just going to stop. You know what I'm saying? And you hit puberty and then it's going to live for a while and the universe dies and everything slowly decays and burns out.
Well, that's everything will slowly cool down.
Yeah. They used to have the theory with the expansion that it wouldn't stop, and they called it the Big Rip, and it was going to be like where it's either going to rip and the universe is going to be torn in half because it doesn't stop expanding, or they had the one called Big Crunch, which was what Durin was saying, where everything snaps back and goes right back into the singularity, and everything gets crunched all together again. And they fail. You know, those are old ones, but they don't really go by those theories anymore. Those are old theories that the universe just keeps crunching and expanding and crunching and expanding, or expanding and ripping and expanding and ripping. Those two have been kind of thrown out, though.
Politics is so much easier for people to talk about than science, because
it's
like you just get to the point.
But it is very interesting.
Point where you're just like, I don't know.
It's very interesting to think about how there is microscopic things. Why couldn't there be macroscopic things, right? Like I always wondered that, and I was like, how do we know that this isn't there isn't a macroverse, right, of more intelligent creatures? If they live in 4 dimensions, we'd only see them in 3 dimensions, right? Just like how 2-dimensional beings only see us in 2 dimensions.
Yeah,
you're literally talking about like what bacteria would be to like bacteria.
Yeah.
Onward.
Yeah, basically, like how bacteria views us. That's how we would view things in the next size difference, bigger. You know, in that same distance but bigger. You know. And bacteria. Do you think bacteria knows what we are? They don't know what we are. Do they know that they're living inside of us? I don't know if they know that. I think they probably don't know shit, but I mean, if they did know something, they probably just think that it's a universe, just like we do, right? That inside a body is just a whole universe. They wouldn't understand the concept that they're inside larger beings, you know, more intelligent than them, in a whole different size level that they can't even see. I mean, how long did it take us to even look at fucking bacteria and realize that bacteria exists? That's very recent, right? That was like 60, 70 years ago. Like, that's super recent. Maybe 100.
Are you reading what this 666 guy has just written?
What did he say?
He said he's basically said change, it doesn't exist. The last snowy Christmas I had was in 1993, and today's winter in Poland are like almost no snow.
Oh, he's saying climate change does exist, he's saying.
Yeah, somebody's saying it doesn't.
I don't think so. I think it just... Oh, Alan Shildroff, I guess he was talking to. With billions of people, we are getting better, just more capable. Oh, yeah. I don't know what that has to do with it, though. Yeah, whatever. What's up, Shane?
Okay. Yeah.
What if we are just back... That's what I was saying, Amy. That's what I was saying, yeah. My idea was like, well, what if we're the microscopic beings inside of a macroscopic being, right? Like, we're the macroscopic ones to the microscopic ones. What if there's another level above us? Like, it's strange to see how these things have so many different levels of size, and the smaller we can see, the more things we find. Like, obviously it's going to be the bigger we can see, the bigger we're going to be able to find too, you know. And there's got to be stuff beyond, you know, what we can see in size. It's way harder to see big than it is small, right? Like, because big, you're inside big, small is inside you, so you should be able to see small easier than you can see big.
Well, how? Well, so
you're cutting out, Sean. What did you say?
Doesn't matter.
Oh. I mean, that to a certain level, right? Obviously, you can see a building before you can see a peanut, but, you know, there's certain levels it gets to where things are so big, you can't see it, you know? It's impossible to see. The atoms that constitute that big thing are probably planets, right? Or stars. So you'll never be able to see that big thing, right? Because stars is what we can see, but we can't see what all the stars together constitute. Like,
isn't there a picture that sort of shows like a wide encapsulation of the universe, but it's like, I think it's, I just remember seeing something like that. It looks like an oval.
Yeah, something like that. But that's what we call the known universe, because you know, we can't see all of the universe. So it's like, of what we can see and we put it together, we can get a general shape, or generally what it looks like. Yeah,
because they do it through computers, so they obviously can't like take a giant picture, but they can basically process most of it and narrow it down.
But again, we have to think of dimensions as well, because if it's a 4-dimensional image, we're only seeing the 3-dimensional image of a 4-dimensional image. So we're missing a whole different dimension to it. So it's not going to look what we think it looks like, right? Like I said, if a bacteria tried to look at us and draw us and put all our parts together to draw it, it'd probably be a 2-dimensional image, you know? Like, they wouldn't see all 3 dimensions.
You mean the 4th dimension, as in, like, we're seeing things in terms of light years. We're not even getting the full picture because we can't assume that's exactly what it looks like now. We can only assume based
just
on, like,
another
whatever
dimension of space. Like, you know, you got, you know, like 2D would be a flat object. 3D is like us, you know, you can see 3 sides to something. So now 4D would be there's a 4th side that we can't even view. We don't even understand what a 4th side to something is. You know what I'm saying?
I just got a little confused there.
Yeah,
because,
so we'll
like,
be missing
typically the
something.
4th dimension is seen as just time.
Yeah, we're not going to go back. We're just talking about dimensions in the standard sense of dimensions of something, like a cube or something. Like, as far as we can understand, you could see a cube, right? But what would be a 4th space then? It could be time. And maybe we could see time if we could see 4 dimensions, and that's what we're missing when we draw the universe. Who knows?
This is some Russell Brand shit right now.
Yeah, it is. It is nuts, though. Those are the big things that are weird to talk about that we're just never understand, right? We'll probably never know.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the chance. I mean, science.
Yeah, like Billy said, the most of the Earth you could see at one time is 49%. Yeah, that's how we view things. It's true. So if something has another dimension to it that would be more than, say, 100%, we would only see like 25% of that, right? Like, and that's what we think that thing looked like. Was actually the image is actually only 25% of that thing that we think it looks like that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how you got to view dimensions, because if you think about the way things see, everything sees things in, actually, yeah, we see things in 3 dimensions, but if there was another dimension to something, because it's bigger than us, like astronomically bigger than us, it's going to have more dimensions to it that we can't see. We can't even fathom what those dimensions are, you know? And then, so we'll never have an accurate depiction of what that thing is that we're living inside of, or that's so astronomically bigger than us. I mean, for all we know, we could be 4-dimensional creatures, but we only see 3 dimensions, so we only notice 3 dimensions of ourselves, you know.
Why when you have like these massive fucking expensive scopes and shit that NASA build, and it's like they're pointed at like a fucking pin end fucking size of the universe, and it takes them like 40 years to scan like 10% of it and shit.
Yeah, it's true. It's crazy. But with technology, we are going to get better. We may discover how to look at another dimension, the next step of space or whatever.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what
discoveries.
You know, the way you always have those big discoveries throughout history. It'd be interesting to see what the next.
There's always that one too that'll like totally advance us super fast. And like, they just made the first like home quantum computer or something, so that shit's gonna advance us real quick soon. Now we got
home quantum computer.
Yeah, let me see.
Got my ears perked.
Hold on a second, I'll tell you. I just saw somebody post that recently. Oh, it was Marino. IBM unveils its first commercial quantum computer. Yep. It looks fucking crazy. IBM Q System 1. It's huge, though. I don't think it's tiny. No, yeah, it's bigger than a person. So I guess it's not really a home computer unless you're rich. But I guess it's commercial. I guess it's more for businesses, like any business that wants to purchase it.
Yeah.
Not residential, sorry. Yeah. But it's still great. That's still crazy. Mad companies are going to start buying this up. They're going to start using it to calculate things that at speeds that we never thought we could before, and figuring things out. We're going to bet
Elon has got one in his fucking bedroom or something.
Yeah. You know, Elon Musk's going to get one. All these companies, all these corporations that are trying to fly into space, they're going to be calculating these things much faster and figuring it out, and solving these problems much quicker. We're gonna again, the next huge leap before we've even adapted to the last big leap is gonna happen.
Yeah,
that's where shit's gonna get crazy, man.
though, isn't it? Because it's like you have people literally. You have fucking quantum we live in a world where we have quantum computers, and then you have people who are still stoning women to death.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine that.
Imagine
using a quantum computer to figure out what's the most efficient way to stone a woman to death. You like type it into the computer. What's the angle I have to swing my arm to get the best hit on her?
God.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And it's like,
we gotta put this to the simulator.
Yeah.
It's gonna run about 100 billion times.
See where it's the best angle, the best distance and space where you could throw it from to kill somebody quick enough. That's gonna be the kind of shit. That's where I say we haven't adapted to how fast we're advancing. Like, if you're gonna use it for shit like that. Amy posted this link. I'm gonna play it real quick. Let's see. But go ahead, talk, because I haven't punched it up yet.
I was gonna say, I had this idea where you have a planet where they're really far advanced, you know, similar to ours. It's like it's advanced, but like more than we are now. But you still have like religious fucking flying about, and then they somehow take over, you know, the capabilities of humanity or whatever you want to call it, and then they just don't advance, but they've got all this like access to like crazy fucking technology and shit, and they just like use it for like stupid shit and like, or just to fucking, you know, control everybody in a crazy way. Fucking terrifying.
This video, it's the scale of the universe. Exactly what we're talking about. Oh, you gotta actually watch it on the stream. Yeah, shit just gets infinitely smaller. It's like shit can get that much smaller and be like infinitely smaller like that. Like things have to get infinitely larger. It has to be, right? Like I can't see how it does it. And if there's beings at that small of a level that are alive and organic and going about their day, then there has to be larger beings that are doing the same too.
That's another. It's like because that's.
Like, why are we the top of living organisms, right? Like, it can't be.
Well, I don't know. I think there's a ceiling for everything. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Eventually, there's a ceiling, but life feeds on life, my friend. We are feeding on other life somehow from inside of it.
Oh yeah.
Angstroms, those are the smallest. That hydrogen atom and helium atom, and then they're going smaller than that. Gamma ray wavelength, a picometer is that size. What's the size of a picometer? 100 femtometers is when you start seeing uranium nucleuses, chlorine nucleuses, and an electron. Helium nucleus even smaller than that. Now we're at 10 to the negative 15th meters, and you see what, photons? Holy shit, and there's still a lot left in this video. Protons and neutrons, that's 10 to the negative 15th meters. Lengths shorter than this are not confirmed. Now we're at the point where you can't confirm the size of these things, it's so small. Range of the weak force, so there's no force after that. That's the range of it. Yeah, this is where you get even smaller. At distance called an atometer, which is 10 to the negative 18th meter. And that's where you get up quarks, strange quarks, and down quarks.
Alfie, you missed my nerd joke right there.
Oh, what was it?
You said you said that no force or something like that, and I said no Jedi's past this point.
Yeah, no Jedi's past this point. If you're a Jedi of this size, that's it. You can't be a Jedi. It's too small. You're too small to be a Jedi. There are 6 flavors of quarks: up, down, strange, charm, top, and bottom. Poop.
Top and bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're all different sizes as well. Yeah, they're getting smaller now to look at other quarks.
Queer quarks.
Queer quarks. LGBT quarks. Yeah, charm quark. At 100 zeptometers. What a fucking weird shit, man. Have you ever heard of a zeptometer before? I never have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
It's how you measure the Amazing Atheist's dick.
Yeah. High energy neutrinos. This is where you're getting really small. Dude, and there's still like 7 minutes to this video. Like, is it going to keep getting smaller, or are they going to start getting big again? I'm gonna start
This is
skipping forward
insane.
to see.
This is like an endless rabbit hole of like what makes this, makes that, what like how far. Okay, so what makes that, and then you just keep going and going and going.
Holy shit! A neutrino is 1 yoctometer, which is 10 to the negative 24th meters. Holy shit!
Holy shit!
A yoctometer. What the fuck? They're just making up names. That's how far down we're going.
Why does the
Look at this shit.
the neutrino has this? It looks like the the news outlet.
Have a what? The vegan symbol?
No symbol. No, the Vox symbol. You know, the news outlet.
The V. Yeah. Quantum foam. That's weird. Now we're getting to the level of what all these little fucking microscopic things lay on and stuff like the. It's space, right? Quantum foam. That's crazy. Oh, now it's going back up. I guess now we're gonna go into big size range. But
is this dealing with string theory?
I think so, because I saw string there. I don't know. See, now we're getting bigger. Buildings and Eiffel Tower, mountains and shit. Uluru, Cruithne. What the fuck is Cruithne? Large Hadron Collider.
Duckweed.
Marathon. Look how huge this is. A marathon. Hydra, Nix, West Virginia, California. Now, planets. Yeah, Ceres. Is Ceres like almost the size of California? That's crazy. The USA is as big as Triton, like a moon? What? The moon of fucking Pluto, I think it is?
Yeah, it's probably surface area, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. Minecraft world is in there. Yeah, there's the Earth. Well, the Earth is way bigger than Triton. Yeah, they have the Minecraft world in there. Minecraft world is 64,000 kilometers. And stretching, so it's getting bigger as more people play, I guess. Build their own areas.
If they had like sun. Grand Theft Auto and shit.
Mm-hmm. Now we're at our sun. It's gonna zoom out. Total human height? What does that mean?
It's every human.
Every human. Wow, hold on. Yeah, I want to go back and see what that equals. That's nuts. The entire height of every human, like stacked, is as big.
Yeah.
As fuck.
I wonder if it's everyone's standing on shoulders or lying on top of each other.
Yeah, or a 3D model of everyone together. We're as big as the star Pollux, whatever that is. But we're a lot. We're like 5 suns. All humans stacked up height. Total human height is like 5 suns. Maybe 5. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, like 5 or 6 suns. Crazy. I never thought of that concept. I'm like, what? The distance from Earth to Sun. Damn, there's stars bigger than the distance from the Earth to the Sun. Can you imagine that? That's insane, right? Like a lot bigger. Like fucking... Like 10 to... 10 to the 12th power bigger. That's fucking nuts. That's insane. Yeah, and we're still seeing even bigger things. Now we're going into belts. Distance between Voyager 1 and Earth. Distance between Comet Hale-Bopp to the Sun. Distance between Sedna to Sun. Stingray Nebula. Yeah, now we're in galaxies and nebulas and shit. Which is
I love the way
Gomez's
Amy fucking like science knowledge that she never gets to drop, and then
yeah,
she doesn't get to show off.
But it's crazy because you got to think of like you keep getting bigger, and this is what we're seeing. But like if you keep getting bigger and bigger from that, what do you see? You know, it's gonna get crazy.
Eskimo Nebula.
Yep. Hold on a second. All right, I'll be right. All right, I'm gonna end this stream.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed anyway.
I'm gonna fast forward through this like super fast to see what's at the end. Yeah, see the observable universe, and that's the universe around it. They just put static to like show that we have no idea what all that space is and what it looks like. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. Thanks for talking with me, and thanks everybody watching.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Peace out.